Okay, so now we can start properly. Now we can start. It wouldn't be a stream without a bit of scuffed stuff going on, wouldn't it?
We're doing it live.
We are doing
I
it
really
live.
Focused on that.
And I feel like while we're talking, I'm gonna make a new layout for us so I can put the chat on the screen. So I'm gonna do that real quick. But yeah, welcome everybody. So with me today is my very, very special guest, who I'm sure is honoured to be here. Are you not?
Absolutely.
There you go.
Thank you for the invitation.
Good. See,
nowhere I'd rather spend my Saturday night.
Oh, he's well trained, people. He's well trained. No, it's my good friend, fellow Payday content creator, the Noli. How are you doing this fine Saturday night, buddy?
I'm very well. It's a lovely day. Down in London.
It's too hot.
I think it's lovely up and down the country. Yeah, it's absolutely boiling.
It's
not gamer weather.
It is way too hot today. It's ridiculous.
I've got my desktop going here, which is what I'm talking to you on, but I've had my laptop on all day because I've been scripting a little something for an upcoming video, and I must be adding like 8 degrees to my room.
Yeah,
so,
probably. But that's the thing.
Stick you on.
I literally never have the heat on in my room. I always just like let my computers run the temperature because my computer, my monitors, my Xbox, everything just keeps this room as a sauna, and it's just really it's rough. It's rough because now it's like way too hot. There we go. I've made a new layout. That is called speed. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I was out of the house half an hour ago and I didn't have a layout ready, so I had to kind of improvise. But I've done it now. I've done it, so we're good. We're good.
I also appreciate that we've coordinated the black shirts. And,
we have, yeah.
There's something really funny about looking at my background relative to your background.
Yeah, there's a bit of a difference, isn't there? There is a bit of a difference. Right, there we go. All I gotta do is move our cameras and we're good. Cool. Look at that. This is much better because now we'll be able to have the chat in here. And we can take people's questions. There you go. Look at this. You see, if I'd have had like an extra 5 minutes, then I would have done this without it looking like a cool thing in the middle of the stream. But it doesn't really matter too much. It's fine. It's all good. It was Saints Row 2022. Oh, right. So you're telling me that the thing you were hearing was the only good thing about that reboot. Fair enough.
I thought you liked that game.
I did, and then I replayed it and completely changed my mind. Do you know when you play something new and you're like, this is really fun, and then you play it with a friend and then you go, I think I was making something up as I was going along here, because I was playing with a mate and he was like, this is terrible, and I was like, it's not great, is it? It's really not great.
The old honeymoon period.
It genuinely was. It was the honeymoon period, but there you go. Would you guys like some Payday music on in the background? Some quiet Payday music that won't burst your eardrums. I'll put the soundtrack on Spotify, considering we don't have much else, because they need to add the sound. Where is that soundtrack on Spotify? That could be our first question, very relevant to Payday 3. Where's the Payday 2 soundtrack on Spotify?
Then it's in a sort of legal hell.
Yeah.
Is my understanding of it.
It's not ideal.
A lot of contract negotiations. I think it's less negotiations, just like we need to get this sorted, and it's a lot of bureaucracy. Is my experience.
My least favourite thing, that dealing with bureaucracy. I hate it.
Yeah.
Alright, let's just go like that, take a quick picture, and just say that we're live on Instagram, because I should have done that about 5 minutes ago. But, seat of the pants, as we do. There we go. So, what we want to do is, we want to chat about a few different key things with Payday 3. There's a few kind of topics that you and I have had quite a bit of a back and forth about, and also are kind of like hot topics, and I feel like it'd be a good idea for us to focus on those to begin with. And what we want really is to take all of your thoughts as we're going along. So whenever we go onto a specific topic and we're giving our thoughts on something, you guys let us know what you think about whatever we're talking about, whether you think it's the release date, when we'll see gameplay, whatever it may be. And we'll take all your thoughts, bring them in, and then we'll actually have a section at the end, I feel like, where we can just do a Q&A, right? That makes sense? Just kind of
yeah.
A bit of
Well,
a chat.
we could also drop some questions in when we finish talking about each topic, I guess. I mean, like, I've just seen chat's already asking questions.
Yeah.
So we can't completely disrupt the flow. I see someone asking what my favorite Payday song is, and it's "This Is Our Time."
Ooh, good choice. Good choice.
Rogue One, but what a tune.
It's very
but yeah,
good.
we'll cover those later at the end, I guess.
We need an official instrumental for that song.
Yeah, I know. I used to put the actual song over my videos until I realized that lyrical songs are a nightmare to listen to over actual commentary.
Yeah, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
Baby Noli
It's
lacking editing skills.
It's tough because like I've pulled some things off YouTube that are like, literally within 30 seconds of putting it on Instagram, Almir Listo has put it in his story on Instagram. There you go. Worth the share.
Hero.
That was worth the pause. Worth the pause, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah,
I understand he's just playing Diablo 4 right now.
Oh,
so
is he?
busy man. Yeah.
I didn't even realize it had come out. To be honest with you, I was not following Diablo news.
It hasn't. It's the one where you have to spend like 20 quid extra to get access to it. But you know.
Oh, so what I did the last time I did that was for Marvel's
gaming.
Avengers.
Oh yeah.
That game's still doing really well, isn't it, guys? Still getting updates. What? So, okay. So where should we start then for this? Because we've got a few things we want to talk about. Like I feel like we've got the release date. That's the big thing that you want to chat about. But also, it also feels topical to talk about when we'll see the gameplay, because we have differing opinions on this. And in case the folks watching this don't know, I did actually just put a video out yesterday. And I feel like
I was about to do you a favor there and say let's start with your video where I think you're completely wrong.
Cool.
But it's well worth a watch, everyone.
Cool. Thanks.
But I do disagree. I don't think it's going to be at Gamescom. I think it'll be before then. But yeah, I don't see why not. So for people who haven't seen your video, first of all, go and watch it. But what's your thoughts that I'm going to try?
Your thoughts you're going to try and argue with me on? No. Yeah. So if you haven't seen the video, I did put it up on a Friday evening, which I suppose is a bit different to normal, but it's not done super well, so please guys go watch it. I don't want it to flop. I put a lot of work into that. There's 80s music and video effects and things. It's cool. No, so my kind of theory at the minute is that they released that video saying gameplay this summer a bit too close to June, and with it being so vague for it to mean that we're going to see something during Summer Games Fest, because everyone and their mum basically at the minute is thinking Summer Games Fest is where we're going to see Payday 3 gameplay. It's the big thing in lieu of E3 not existing again this year, so why not blast it in front of everybody there? Makes sense. It's what Crime Boss did for the Game Awards, like the winter Jeff Keighley event. Like they put it there and then everyone had their eyes on it, otherwise you might not have known about it. I mean, you did a poll, didn't you? And there were still loads of people when it came out that didn't know it existed, but I'd argue people who did saw it from the Game Awards. So I fear, while I think that it would be the best move to put it out at Summer Games Fest, I don't think they're going to do that, because if they want to do that, I would have thought they'd have put this little trailer of theirs out, this, alright guys, it's a simple job thing, like 2 months before it or something. Like, it's coming out a month before Summer Games Fest, and it's super vague. It didn't say coming in June or coming in early summer, it said coming in summer. And it doesn't just apply to Overkill, but like companies will say like a specific period when something's going to come out, and then quite often it'll come out towards the end of that period. You know, this is like holiday period and it's out like November or December. They don't put it out like anywhere earlier than that. Like, it's always tail end of the year. Whenever they give you a season, it tends to be at the end. So I worry, because it didn't say, oh, what's that in the chat? The video was gameplay this June, don't miss out, and it was quickly released and replaced by this summer. When was that? Because I didn't see that. Are we being gaslit? I don't know. Did you see that?
Do we have... No, I've not seen an initial... I woke up maybe 10 minutes too late.
Yeah. I honestly...
I went back to sleep.
Yeah! I feel really bad admitting this for someone who was like, oh yeah, whenever there's Payday 3 news, I'm there. I got on a ping at 6 and it woke me up, and it was like Payday 3 teaser trailer, and I went, oh, let's watch it. And then I saw it and went, this can wait, and went back to sleep for another hour or two. So I did. And then I got up and made the video immediately, but still, there wasn't enough there. There wasn't enough there.
First of all, my opinion on that is I'm not a big fan. And it maybe indicates that there have been some problems along the way. I'm not a huge fan of a teaser, not for the game, but a teaser for a teaser trailer.
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it?
It's too far removed as far as I'm concerned, which is why I completely get what you're saying about it being a really quick turnaround. But I still hold this hope, I suppose, at this point. Was it 2 years ago when Prime Matter first did their showcase?
Yeah, Summer Games Fest 2021. That whole mess.
We were there then anticipating something, and now we're 2 years later, and if we're not anticipating this year, something's gone wrong. And it might just be that the strategy is different, and the strategy is not to go for Summer Games Fest. It's to do so privately or at a different event, like you suggested. But I don't know. It seems strange given the presence that Plyon and Prime Matter have had. They've used Summer Game Fest quite heavily, Although I know you mentioned the Prime Matter Anniversary event, that's also possible, also in June. My general thesis is that we'll get something in June. And I think what we're hearing there about there maybe being a trailer that suggested June is evidence to that. But it's obviously not completely solid. And I admit that, summer could mean anywhere from June through August. In fact, summer doesn't even have to be summer, let's be honest. If it's in September and it's still pretty warm, they'll say, yeah,
True.
we hit that we
Yeah.
hit that date.
Yeah. Oh, here we go in the chat. Sprin saying this is just a rumor based around a supposed deleted Instagram post, and someone else saying thought I saw the video at launch and I kind of remember the June thing. So it could be that if there's a collective gaslighting going on here, it might not be
Mandela
real.
effect.
It might be a Mandela effect. Yeah. I don't know about that. Maybe.
I've been saying June for not years, but a long time.
And it
I've
makes
been saying
sense.
a release in August for a long time as well, and not necessarily a release, but some sort of beta, some sort of hands-on with the game, to coincide with that 10-year anniversary. June is like last chance saloon for that in a sense. Games can't come out with trailers any later, I don't think. Otherwise, they'll completely miss the hype cycle, and unless it's one of those where we go, here's the gameplay. The game's coming tomorrow.
That's what I'm
But I don't see
thinking.
that
Because the thing I'm wondering, because I think I said originally that it was going to be August like you, but I changed my mind when I did the most recent video talking about Payday 3 releasing, saying that I think September's a better bet. Because it doesn't make sense for Payday 2's 10th anniversary to be when Payday 3 comes out, more so than it would make sense for Payday 2 to get its final update on its birthday. That kind of makes more sense for me. I feel like you get the final big thing, whatever it may be, for Payday 2 on its birthday or a couple of days around its birthday. But I feel like it honestly at this point makes sense, or more sense at this point, for them to just go, here's a trailer at Gamescom and let them play it on the floor. Like, actually have it available on the show floor to play. Because that happened with Overkill's The Walking Dead. And ironically, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, I went to get gameplay, a video, of Overkill on the show floor from Gamescom. Because I know they uploaded loads of stuff about it. Did you notice on their channel, now they've rebranded it to Payday, every single video they did for Overkill's The Walking Dead is gone.
That's just good PR.
They're gone.
That's just.
I know.
You've got to disassociate.
It's all gone. Because I remember there being vlogs like Gamescom Day 4, and one of them like Almir in the thumbnail. They were like, "Yeah, we're giving people gameplay." They're gone. There's one video on there that was someone screen recording at Gamescom, and I was like, "I'm not going to use that." But
yeah,
it was.
They'll be unlisted somewhere, I'm sure. But
yeah,
it's not something they need following them around, is it?
Not at all.
And maybe it's not something that should be following them around, bearing in mind they've had a complete change in leadership, a complete change in the team developing the game. Playing devil's advocate there, I think maybe they've got every right to get rid of it.
Oh, they have. Like, they probably want to, like, Men in Black make you forget about it, but it's just, I just found it ironic I hadn't noticed that. Because I was like, I thought it when I Googled it, I was like, well, it's not Overkill anymore, it's Payday, but is it still there? And then I looked and I was like, oh, no, it's not. It's gone. So, there's that. But like, the thing is, they did that before. They had, like, a bit of a presence at Gamescom for when Payday 2 launched. So, you and I both know Overkill don't do the massive hype cycle thing. In fact, you pointed out more at one point to me. Like, they like to kind of tell people when there's something to tell about. Like, that's kind of more what they want to do. So I wonder if maybe if this gaslighting thing about June is actually real, maybe they had planned to say something at June and change their minds. I don't know. But it wouldn't be outside the realm of possibility for me personally to think that they'll show you actually more about the game in August at Gamescom. Maybe put something out a couple of weeks before and say that that's going to happen at Gamescom, but let that be the chance for people to get their hands on it in Europe, not far from Sweden, so it's easier for them to set up possibly, because it's in Germany. I don't know how long a flight is from Germany to Sweden, but I don't think it's that much, so they could probably get something set up there. But aside from that, you could then release it the month after. Go, here's your hands on. Payday 3 coming next month. Of course, that only works if the game on the show floor is one that people will walk away from and say, this is brilliant, play it. Because I don't remember people even coming away from the Overkill's The Walking Dead demo and going, this is something amazing, guys. Like, I'm pretty sure reactions were quite mixed at the time, right?
Yeah, so Overkill's The Walking Dead had a wild development history, as I'm sure a lot of people know. But it gets wilder than even like Overkill's The Walking Dead, the game.
Yeah.
There was that period where it seemed like the game was going to be VR, and all the stuff you could playtest. I'm talking years and years ago, 2016, 2015. You could playtest these strange VR experiences. So people probably came away thinking, oh, this is another one of those like strange little sections of the game. the actual game won't be representative of this. So that's why I don't think there wasn't much talk of it. Payday 3 definitely has had a more positive hype cycle, you'd say, but they did drop us a January 1st sort of here's the year of Payday, and then disappear on us for about 5 months, and that sort of made the little teaser trailer feel like we are still here, we are still coming out this year, probably.
That's what worries me, because that's what I said for years. I was like, all we need is for them to release a little teaser that can be shared between people, because the Payday community knew Payday 3 was coming, but I didn't feel like outside of that bubble people really knew much about it. It wasn't something I ever heard people like my mates talking about or anything like that. If you were following Payday news circles, you knew about it, but if you weren't, you didn't have a clue. I mean, how long did we see Payday's Twitter account every day, even up until like last year, being like, Payday 3 is a game that's coming out, and people were going, what? I didn't know about this. And it's like because it wasn't being spread out. So I was like, as soon as you release just some teaser to say Payday 3, something that can be shared, posted on like news websites and stuff, it's going to be more public knowledge. And when they did that in January, I was like, there we go. Finally, people will know it's coming. But then, as you said, we got months with nothing, and I do agree that trailer feels a little bit like, guys, we're here. Don't forget, like, we're here. And that's why my video yesterday, I literally opened with that clip of Almid. That was from his stream on Thursday. Like, his most recent Payday stream, he was like, we said gameplay in summer, right? So that's coming up soon. It just doesn't feel like beyond the surface level they're saying much, which could be nothing, but it's also why I felt like now's a good time to chat about it.
I watched that clip and thought, Almir's got no idea when it's coming, does he?
Oh my god, I really hope he does. I hope he does.
That was genuinely what went through my head. But I don't think it's that he's got no idea. I think that maybe there's still a degree of it being up in the air. If it's not at Summer Games Fest, there might be some moving around.
It could be that, but it could be. It could still be Gamescom, because Leon in the chat I just spotted said Plaion is a German publisher. Keep that in mind too. So if Plaion like to play location favorites, then they may want to go to Gamescom.
Yeah, they've done a lot at Summer Games Fest since it's existed. They've been pretty front and center, and I mean, I don't think it would be bold to say that Payday is bigger than Prime Matter, in a sense.
Yeah.
So if they shove their whole new branch of their publishing studio on what they saw to be an important event like Summer Games Fest, why not Payday? I'm going to be watching and hoping, but and maybe, like you say, we'll know going in. You know, maybe like a day or two beforehand, we'll get confirmation. But like, you mentioned that I talked about the history of it, what happened with Payday 2, because I think you can learn a decent amount, and you can probably learn a decent amount from Overkill's The Walking Dead, but that was such a
failure,
such a
to
messy,
put it bluntly.
messy marketing campaign. It might not be the easiest to actually draw comparisons, but we actually got, I believe, the first, and people can check me up on this, I believe the first teaser trailer came out in April or May of the game that came out in August. So that's the time frame we're looking at. You also have to remember the Payday, the Heist, had only been out for
18
just
months,
under 2 years, was it? Yeah. When that happened, so it was a much faster turnaround on everything. But we had a beta on our hands by July. I think the people who'd completed the secret got their hands on the beta first. I don't think that's going to happen this time. Payday 3 is probably just a little too big. But it's a really quick turnaround from when we got gameplay back then. And so I would expect to see exactly the same with Payday 3, which is why I'm still holding out hope for the 2023 release, assuming it's ready for that. If it isn't ready for that, send it to the Shadow Realm. I'll see you next year. Games have been releasing unfinished a lot recently, and
let's ask a key question. And I just want to point out, by the way, I said earlier about people not inside the Payday circles knowing much about what was going on. Boji and his pool repair in the chat, I'm not picking him out to like single him, be like, haha, this guy doesn't know anything. But he made a comment saying, what if it's Houston taking Wolf's place? We have known for about 2 years now. Was it 2 years? Or was it a year? It's been a while since that 10th anniversary stream. That the 4 characters coming back are Hoxton, Dallas, Chains, and Wolf. I just pulled any old thumbnail I could find that had the 4 at the minute. The 4 of them are going to be in the game. And this is what I mean, like, the marketing for people who didn't know much about it has not been that strong. Because that teaser came out in July, didn't even show any faces. Just silhouettes again. So I feel like the teaser they made with the public in mind shared less than the Payday fans even knew.
Did you try changing the gamma on the image of Dallas when he was doing the little teaser trail that just came out? It's not. There's nothing. It's a silhouette.
Oh right, okay.
I was like, oh, is it a lighting effect? Is it actually like in game? No, it's just a complete silhouette. So we can't glean anything from that. We've not seen any faces, but we have been pretty directly told that it is going to be the core 4 as they were. I see lots of people trying to put Houston into the game as not Houston. So Wolf has been one suggestion you just mentioned. I've also seen someone suggest that he might take over from Dallas. With Dallas becoming the new Bane, which is a cool idea, but I'm 99% certain it's not how it's going to play out.
It's not how it's going to do, yeah. And I don't also kind of, in a way, I don't like the idea, because if you're going to bring back the OG 4, like, they're the one, all 4 of them have been in it together as a crew for how long? Why would one of them take over and the other 3 stay in? Like, I feel like they should still be a collective, right? I don't know. Plus, you know, Ian Russell, we don't want him out of a job. Right? We need Locke. Yeah, we need Locke as well. I
have no idea if we're getting Locke.
I wonder as well, yeah. Hopefully.
I'm sure in some capacity we'll have a Locke.
Yeah,
but I don't know whether he'll be our Bane.
It's going to be interesting.
But they're going to be ancient. I did this back in the day. I did a video discussing which characters we're going to get. And one of my arguments was, like, Rust is going to be in his mid to late 70s, lads. I don't think he's going to make it.
I don't think Rust is going to be in it anyway, if we're being completely fair.
Obviously not, but
my boy got asked on Reddit why he did Payday, and he was like, the last comment word in your question had a lot to do with it. Like, I respect that so much. He was like, I don't care, I just did it for the cash. Fair.
Nice and straightforward.
Yeah.
But I don't think the likes of Jiro are gonna be maybe, but they're gonna be getting up there in years. Dallas is in his 60s, I think.
And Jiro?
It's unlikely unless we actually do just have like geriatric heisters going around those Zimmer frames.
Yeah, it could. Imagine that. Oh my god, I dread to think. Okay, let's do something a bit interesting. Let's do something a little bit interesting. Let's get everyone in the chat, yes or no. All right. Do you think Payday 3 is still going to come out this year? Because you touched on it earlier about possible delays, and I'm wondering too, so I want to see what the viewers think. So literally just the word yes or no in the chat. Do you think Payday 3 is still coming out this year? We now have to wait about 30 seconds, and then we'll be able to see what everyone's thinking. So how's your weekend been? You been all right?
Yeah, it's been all right, yeah. Not bad. Not bad. I'm a yes, by the way. And I think you are too?
I am a yes as well, but I wouldn't blame people for kind of starting to wonder. So we'll see now and see. Oh, here we go. They're starting to come in. And everyone's saying yes, bar one person. YouTube is dead. Rest in peace, your opinion. Oh, no, a couple are saying no. A couple of people. But most people are still saying yes. That's good. I actually expected this to be more of a split, I'll be honest with you.
It's the year of Payday.
It is, but when we've been this quiet, you worry. You worry, as you said.
Payday Crime War.
Oh, God. Are you going to be playing much of Payday Crime War, cards on the table?
We missed the... yeah, so it's out in the UK.
Yeah.
We've had partner access for a little while longer. I recorded a bunch of gameplay for it and did enjoy it. I then took a fairly long break from the game because I wasn't actually sure I'd be able to keep my account heading into the UK release. But I have now installed the the early access from the just from the regular app store, and I have been playing again. It's exactly as I said in my review. Like it's all the good things about Payday, but just very much like consolidated and shortened, and in some cases made worse. But it's a necessity for it to be on mobile. I mean, like the example I could give is Shadow Raid doesn't have a warehouse. It doesn't have an interior at all. It's just the courtyard outside.
Oh, wow.
And you just go around and steal some gold from containers.
I literally haven't chanced to get into it yet, and I want to, yeah. I got given the early access, and I had a little peek, but I didn't get into it properly, so I'm planning to dive into it soon.
The other thing I would say for Crime War is just seeing their, they've not really done a roadmap, but they're talking about upcoming updates. A couple of big complaints I made were things like limited PvP mode, no specials in the game yet. the game's too easy, and some of the things we've immediately seen, there's going to be a hard mode added in a future update. We're getting bulldozers, tasers, a lot of them, and new PvP modes. So it looks like they're addressing the concerns we have, which is good.
That's good. That's good.
So yeah, there should be reason to play it. Obviously, it's coming June 6th, we now know. And it says worldwide, but I saw another post that there would be a staggered release. I don't know if that's for stability or what the deal is with that.
Peek. I don't want to open anything extra on my computer in case it changes the window capture for you. We're in a bit of a slow launch. So the good thing is now though I can edit the VOD and then it'll remove the live chat replay, but it's in the stream so it won't matter. Be all good. You'll be able to see message. So
right,
everyone say hi to your mum and everyone. You'll be in the YouTube video. You're all good. Let's see what people are saying about the whole release date thing though. There's a few actual opinions have come in now beyond yes and no. Starbreeze is way too confident for it to be delayed, especially this close to release, assuming it'll come out in roughly September. Yeah.
I'm with Havoc.
I'm with him as well. They are very confident, even though they're not telling us much beyond that. They are very confident it is coming out in September. And not this September. They're confident it's coming out this year.
Have you talked about any of the other press releases, all the other information we have around Starbreeze? It's public. It's public information that Starbreeze is targeting 2025 to release new IPs, new games. They're on a timeline for these things. They're investors and shareholders to keep happy. I agree, Starbreeze are confident and hope that's for good reason.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was something like they were planning to bring in, develop a new IP, or it was like actually bake a whole new thing, right?
Yeah, so from that initial information, it actually seems like they're getting a licensed IP for their first game after Payday. We have no idea what it is, just that it's cooperative in some way. Can you imagine?
Well, they did announce a John Wick AAA game is coming. Like that was something that was announced the other day alongside John Wick 5.
But I think it's plausible. That's genuinely my guess. I don't know whether you were joking.
I was like kind of half joking, half serious. But yeah, it's not impossible that could be them.
It's just they mentioned it. I think they mentioned it was a sequel of some sort, or at least like there'd been a game made for the property before, which fits John Wick perfectly because John Wick has had a game before. It was a VR game, wasn't it?
Was it? Hex was like it wasn't even VR. I think there's been two different ones then. Hex was like a little. I don't even know how you describe it. Like it was almost like a top-down game. It wasn't like Hotline Miami style, but people moved in like hexagonal pieces. I don't know too much about it. I know it was made by Bithell Games, but I don't know like.
I'm talking about like a first-person VR one.
So there's been two different ones then. Okay.
But this is the purest of speculation. It has not that much to do with Payday, but I think our point is that there's a roadmap for Starbreeze as a company, and it's pretty much contingent on Payday 3 releasing in a reasonable time and in a reasonable state and being a success.
Yeah. Because if Payday 3 is not a success, they're in trouble. Like if we're all being real, that's not news to anybody. They need Payday 3 to be a success, so they have to play their cards right. It's just at the minute those cards are super glued firmly to their chest.
I do think because it's so important, they will be super glued. They won't be making any missteps. If there's any doubt in terms of releasing marketing early, I can appreciate that. I do think that Starbreeze are in a much better position regardless. I do think that they've done a great deal over the last few years to be a more sustainable company regardless of Payday's success. I think it's pretty pivotal that the game does well, but I would also say that they've structured themselves in a much better, more sustainable way, as long as they don't overstretch again, which is what we obviously saw back under the Bow leadership.
Star VR, who wanted that? Anyway, so
they thought it was going to be the future.
Yeah, it definitely is the future of Bow's career collapsing. So what else have we got for people from the chat? It's No Man's Sky strategy. They just work on a game before saying anything too much. And that's the thing. It's like we're saying, Overkill strategy is very much we will tell you something about it when there's something to tell.
Well, yeah, it's funny. No Man's Sky is a really funny example, right? Because that's a once bitten, twice shy kind of thing where they overpromised across the board.
Yeah.
Realize this is not done our reputation any favors, and they're now, as I don't know who it was who said that comment, but are now a little bit more cautious and working on it from behind the scenes.
Because he did manage to pull it back for No Man's Sky and get people to like it, which was kind of crazy. Like that was no mean feat.
Massive redemption story, which Payday 3 would be in a sense relative to what's happened before it. Raid.
Everyone loves a good comeback story. Seabiscuit,
Yeah.
Mighty Ducks. Anyway, we're not finishing that one. We're not finishing that one.
Jesus Christ.
If you get the reference, then you know. So, what else have we got? How are they going to say Payday 3 in the game? That's the real question. What do you mean, how are they going to say? Oh, you mean like how are they going to say I need my Payday 3? It's going to be like
the boat on that one.
Slapstick humor. Slapstick humor, you know? Like they go, it's time to get your payday. 3 of you will go and do this. They'll do something like that, probably, I bet you. There'll be something like that. Something like that. This is Overkill's last hurrah. Payday 3 has to not fail. Well, their plan is not for this to be their last hurrah, but if it doesn't go well, it will be, yeah. So, I don't know. I feel like despite us not seeing much, I do still have faith in them cooking something good. If for no other reason than they've actually got their hands on a good engine that they're not changing at the last minute this time around. Like, they were like, it's Unreal, we're sticking to Unreal, we're building it in Unreal. Like,
and we still don't know if it's in Unreal 5 or 4.
Does that make much difference at the end of the day? Because I looked into it. It seems like there'd be a bit more power under the hood, but I feel like it'd still be perfectly fine, even on next-gen consoles, on Unreal 4.
I think we'd be happy to hear it was Unreal 5. I don't think we'd be panicking if we heard it was Unreal 4. I think also Payday 2 has been such a success because computers can play it, even if they're not playing it very well. It's not a particularly intensive game. It's full of frame-dropping bugs, but generally the game does run quite well on machines. And I think if they went overboard and the game looked too gorgeous and only the absolute apex of all, oh god, I can't believe I said that, of all PCs.
He's getting his brand deals in, ladies and gentlemen. I guarantee you that they saw the announcement of the stream and went, right, listen, you mentioned those PCs once, you make it subtle, you get it in there, and then we'll pay you lots of money. If that's what's happening, I want to cut, okay? I want to cut.
It was only, I mean, just, the top of the top, that can play the game.
The cherry on the
really
top, there you go.
Yeah, not the other word I said.
Yeah, not the other... I guarantee you at least one person here thinks you're talking about Apex Legends and doesn't get the reference. There'll be at least one person.
Yeah, so I mean, people probably know more about that than I do, but I want Payday to run well, more so than I want it to be an absolute gorgeous masterpiece.
Yeah. It's Payday 2's never had graphics that looked absolutely amazing. I mean, all you have to do is get up to one of the players' faces and you're like, oh, okay. Like, GTA 5 released the same year as Payday 2. You look at those two games graphically, they're completely different ballparks, but you have to remember they're completely different development teams. One has got more money than you can shake a stick at and will make something that looks absolutely breathtakingly gorgeous, whereas the other one was trying to make a heisting version of Left 4 Dead. Like, they're two completely different, like, expectations and things to work towards. So, like, I think it's because people are wondering if they're going to try and make Payday 3 like a AAA release. Like, I don't know if that's still what they're going to try and do, because we haven't really talked about, like, how much do you think they're going to try and ask for Payday 3 at launch? Are they going to try and shoot for $60? I don't know. It's interesting, isn't it? You think so?
Well, I mean, games are $70, right? Like, that's the upper up.
Not when I pay for them.
No, but games are $70. I think it will be. I think it probably will be. I mean, the game's been in development for a long time. Those development costs have really ramped up. It might. I couldn't tell you if it's the most economic strategy, but I assume it's at the very least the game will be targeting that kind of quality. I would hope. Whether it'll actually be that price, I don't know, because you could sell more copies at a lower price, and maybe that'll be better for their.
That's the thing, you wonder. You wonder because
for their supply, demand, and things.
The problem is Payday 2 has been so cheap for so much time now that you don't want to overcharge a Payday 3 to the point where people think, well, there's so much in Payday 2, I may as well just play that. That's what worries me.
Yeah, I mean, but I'd be terrified if they said this game's free to play.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, I don't want that. I don't want that.
That comes with it.
Imagine now, like in a month's time, we get Payday 3 is going to be free to play, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be microtransactions. Pre-order now and get the epic Dallas, I don't know, Dallas gritty emos or something. I don't know. I dread to think. Do you think they're going to try and do any... No, you don't. No, you don't want Dallas doing the gritty. You don't want that, and you know you don't. Don't entertain that. Because if Overkill are watching this, they'll be like, write that down! We don't want it. We don't want that. Please do not add the gritty to Payday 3.
We know the game will have a live service model, but we hope it's live service done the right way, and I think Diablo 4, from all the reviews that are coming in, is like a great benchmark for that. by all accounts, the game feels like it's been out for 2 years as a live service, which is exactly what we'd hoped for in Payday 3, because we've been playing Payday 2, which has been out for 10 years. And, you know, my last video was just about how many hours it takes to complete that game, and it's...
There's so much in that. I was watching that video earlier, and there was so much you to talk about. I could barely keep up. I was like, wait, so what do you actually think we need to do here for 100%? There's so much in there. It's like, it's mental. Like, I've already fully like accepted that I'm like, I'm not even gonna get Infamy 100 because like I spent all that time. If they had it on consoles earlier, I probably would have been Infamy 100 easily. I hit max level and then literally reset my progress. I got that bored, and I hate myself for doing that because I had some great stuff in there, some good masks and stuff, and I'm like, whoops. But you know, like, I played so much on console, then on PC now, I'm Infamy, whatever I am. I don't even know. 40-something, am I? I don't know. Like, collectively, I would have easily been Infamy 100, but, like, at this point in the game's life cycle now, I am not bothered to grind out another 60 Infamies for the sake of an achievement.
Infamy, is it 4.0? The one with the banking system was just, it just came that bit too late, didn't it, for most people?
It's a great system, but yeah, it came too late.
Yeah.
It's a shame it didn't come out, like, when the White House came out, as, like, a last-minute, like, because it was meant to be the end of Payday 2, right? The White House, they could have released that and gone, there you go, now you'll be able to level up forever, have fun. And then when they came back with Border Crossing, it would have been even better because they'd have had that system in place and rolling. But sadly, it took another year for that to come out with Bullock's Mansion, so it just came a tiny bit too late. But it was a great idea.
Just thinking about the way all that was, all the progression and the content, how many heists do you think Payday 3 will launch with? And I think there's more nuance to that as well, because what sort of heists will Payday 3
That's another thing, another topic that's quite important. By the way, for anyone who's joined the stream partway through and is wondering, like, you know, I have a question, can I ask it? We're going to do, like, a Q&A section shortly, so if you have, like, specific questions about Payday 3, you can ask us and we'll read them out. It's kind of basically have them ready. If you want to, like, cut them and get ready to, like, paste them in or something, then feel free. But yeah, what do people think? How many heists do you expect? Like, you can give a range or a specific number if you feel that brave. How many heists do you think the game's going to have? Because at launch, Payday 2 had, what, like a dozen? But there was, like, the bank heist, there was...
multi-day heists as well.
Multi-day heists, yeah. All the Hector stuff, the elephant stuff. And, like, a good bit of Vlad's things. But, like, I remember playing that Payday 2 demo on the Xbox 360, thinking, wow, this bank heist is so much fun, I need a full game of this. Then getting the game and going... There's not much here that's on that level. Like, Watch Dogs was the first thing I played because I was like, oh, maybe it's a reference to the Watch Dogs game, and played it and went, no, it's not. It's just Coke in a van. And, but from there on, it all went downhill from there, honestly. It all went downhill from there. Like I said this before on record, I barely played it after I bought it on Xbox 360. It was only when it came out on Xbox One with, like, the Crime Wave stuff where I was like, now there's plenty of stuff to sink my teeth into, and ended up talking about it on YouTube and suddenly getting thousands of views. So thanks for that, you lot. If anyone's still here, appreciate it. Okay, so we got some numbers coming in. 10 to 20, 12, 3. God, I hope not. 9, 25, 15. How many do you think?
I completely agree with the 10 to 20 range.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty spot on. I think it will be, I would guess 15, just as a complete guess.
15 seems safe.
I would hope that they are more... I don't know whether we'll see the return of multi-day heists or whatever, but I'm just hoping for 15 big banks, baby. Like that kind of length. And I think maybe we peaked at Big Bank in terms of design and everything. I maybe don't think we've ever seen a better heist. I definitely have heists I prefer, but I don't think we've ever seen a better, more rounded heist than Big Bang. Maybe the more recent stuff actually is really cool and experimental, but it's probably the rose-tinted nostalgia glasses saying Big Bang.
No, I was thinking that too, because some of the more recent stuff, especially Hostile Takeover, really, I love with Hostile Takeover, you can do any objective in any order. That is so good, and that's an element that I really hope Payday 3 gets. But it's what I've said to you before, and I've said on record, it's like, everything Payday 2 has done since it came back feels like we're testing these things out as possible Payday 3 features. Customizable outfits. They tried to update the mass customization system. Still feels antiquated as all hell. But that's because the game's nearly 10 years old, so you can't do anything about that. But, like, there are so many different things they've done, especially more recently with adding, like, more vehicles in with the golf carts and having objectives you can choose what you do first. A lot of it feels like this is a sign of things to come. So I'm hoping that that's the case, yeah. But Big Bang, I think I agree with you. I was trying to think it through, and I was like, is there any heist that came out after that? And there've been some good ones, don't get me wrong. But Big Bang definitely feels like when I go back to like, oh, you know what's a good classic Payday 2 heist that came out in the early years? I played Big Bang a lot. I really like that heist. I mean, you know me by now. You know I'm a sucker for a bank heist anyway, and I want to be like 50 of them in this next game. They did say it was rob banks and get paid, but there weren't that many banks.
I just think it's the most sort of immersive Sims style heist, and I think that's the direction things have been going. More of that sort of player choice, logic puzzles, trying to actually heist with your brain, I suppose, instead of just doing it by memory. I don't think Hostile Takeover. I think it's a fun heist. I don't think it works that well in Payday 2 because of how objectives are handled. But I'm expecting a complete change of that, and there to be the replayability by virtue of just how many different approaches there are. And I'm sure there'll be randomization again. I think that was like a core Payday feature. But that's what I'm hoping for. I think that the way you could shoot Payday 3 down on arrival is by having 50 heists, all the length of 4 stores. You need some variety, but you also need the depth we've got used to.
Because like that's the thing. Like if you take what Hostile Takeover had done and put it in Payday 3, like for me personally, if you wanted to modernize it, all you'd have to do is make it so you can see what all the objectives are while you're playing. You could bring up like a thing. You could have like an interactive tablet in the game. You raise it up. It's like, what have I got to do? Put it down again. Something like is it as simple as that, but something that maps it out a bit better and tells you what you need to do. Because like as you said, it's not explained super well in Payday 2. Like, you pick it up because you suddenly go, hang on, I could do that for, oh, this is cool, and then you work from there. You kind of realize it as a happy accident rather than you can do it in any order.
You stumble into it, and no matter what, the game is still telling you in the top left-hand corner, go inside that building
do
and
this
find
fixed
a PC.
Objective first, yeah.
Yeah, it's not adaptive at all.
No.
So I'm hoping Payday 3 sort of conquers that, and with that we get that more detailed heist experience. But yeah, 15 would be my guess, and I'm, you know, you'd shoot for about 100 hours worth of content in terms of replayability with that. That would be like a Payday. I mean, people played 100 hours of Payday 2 with its original release format, because there was so much replayability and co-op.
Yeah, the co-op was definitely a very big thing for it. Big thing.
And
okay.
That's another thing that I would really prioritize as well. Mods will be huge for Payday 3. It's the reason Payday 2 is still so popular. I genuinely believe it's in the top 3 reasons why it's still successful.
However, if it came down to a battle between mods and crossplay, which one would you argue is more important? Because I think we'd be on different ends of the camp here.
Yeah. I don't think crossplay is essential or anything as long as the separate ecosystems are well managed. I think it'd be great. I agree, because mods do cause that discrepancy, don't they? It comes to crossplay. But mods are what keep games alive for as long as they are. I look at the easiest example is like Back 4 Blood versus Left 4 Dead. And you look at the player numbers on Steam, and there's thousands of people playing Left 4 Dead with Sexy Legs coach mods.
Why is that where your mind went first? Do you want to tell us something?
It's the only mod I can think of. But no one's playing Back 4 Blood, so there's so much value in replayability and modding. But I'm not a console denier. I own the Crime Wave edition. I'm about to buy the game on Nintendo Switch. Okay.
Oh, is that it? You only own the Crime Wave edition? Ugh.
Yeah, I don't think I ever got any of the DLCs for it. Bro,
I got Payday 2 on the Xbox 360, Crime Wave Edition on Xbox One, therefore Collection on Xbox Series X, and then Collection on PS4, 5. And I've got the basic version, the Ultimate Edition on PC. I own more versions of Payday 2 than Skyrim, and that's saying something considering I went through 3 different Skyrim discs on the Xbox 360. Because I did.
That's impressive.
No, I broke... I broke one of the discs for Skyrim when I've not long got it and then got a replacement, and then the Legendary Edition came out, and it was the only way I could get the DLC at the time, so I was like, well, I gotta buy that. So I ended up having 3 different copies of Skyrim on my Xbox 360.
Todd got you real good.
Yep, then I got it on the base one on PC, I got Special Edition on PC, Special Edition on Xbox, so it's a close battle between Skyrim and Payday 2 for like how many copies of the game I have. It's kind of mental when you think about it, but... Oh, I don't.
Yeah, I think crossplay is probably a focus though. I do think it's
because for me,
worked on
I'm not
Will it
some big
exist?
PC master race dude like you. You know, I actually care about people on console. Yeah, I'm not heartless like you.
I own the PS5.
And when was the last time you blown the dust off it recently, buddy? You blown the dust off it?
It lives in Norway, and I don't.
There you go. See, he's not blowing the dust off it. Do you see my point, everyone? He's just proving it. Case in point. No, seriously. There's if you think about games that have crossplay enabled and think about how many mods they have on offer and compare it to games that have mods on offer but don't have crossplay, you see what I mean? Fortnite's one of the biggest ones right now for crossplay. But can you mod Fortnite?
It's a competitive game, though.
Do I need to add? Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like, there's not really much you can do with that. Like even or Call of Duty or something like that. Obviously, certain games, as you've said, will not lend to mods as well. But if there's like, because the thing is, things like cosmetic mods, I would hypothesize. Someone in the chat could prove me wrong, but I would hypothesize that cosmetic mods could be done to the PC version and it wouldn't impact console whatsoever. Because the way Payday 2 modding works, at the very least, you do something cosmetically, you change how a character looks or how they sound. Typically, you're the only person who hears it anyway, unless you're the person who's got the mod installed, or sees it, I should say. So that would still work in theory if diesel modding is in any way similar to Unreal Engine modding, which, knowing everything else of Payday, it probably isn't. So, who knows?
It won't be.
Yeah.
But, and do you know what the state of console modding is? Only because I know it was something they tried to push with Fallout 4, I think.
Yeah, so with Fallout and Skyrim, Bethesda have their own modding platform, because most mods for Bethesda games you get off like the Nexus, that kind of thing. Bethesda, as game companies often try and do these days, will set up their own site, their own launcher, their own whatever. And Bethesda set up their own platform to like approve their own mods, and therefore within Fallout 4 and Skyrim you could log on to the mod section in game and pull anything that was on Bethesda's official site, which was a lot of the mods. A lot of stuff was on there. There were some things that didn't make it on for licensing or whatever. Like, you know, if it was like an album that had the entire, I don't know, Doctor Who soundtrack or something, you wouldn't be able to pull that off of like Bethesda's site. But if you were like me and you wanted that, you could pull it off the Nexus probably. But you know what I mean? So like most of the mods were there, but not tons. And it worked in quite a good system. The only issue that I think that they had really was how much storage they allowed. Like, because Skyrim only allowed, I think it was Skyrim only allowed 2 gigs of storage for mods, and Fallout 4 allowed 5 gigs. And I think PlayStation allowed even less. It was like 1 gigabyte or something. So if you could change how much you could put on there, basically how that system works would be great. But that required the company to have their own modding platform that they could then integrate. And I don't know about you, but I don't really expect Starbreeze to be like, introducing Starbreeze modding platform. You can add your mods here. They do that, that'd be great. But I just don't see it high in their priority.
Maybe that's what Nebula was all along.
Yeah, that's what Starbreeze Nebula's for. But that's the thing, by the way, because of Starbreeze Nebula existing, where you make your Starbreeze account and get stuff in Payday 2, I think that is like early footing for something to do with crossplay, like an Activision account. You know, I mean, hopefully,
along those lines,
hopefully, if we have crossplay, we don't get people, you know, sliding into your lobbies, stealing your IP information, and crashing your game, like it's currently happening in Cold War. Call of Duty, fix it.
All right,
mate. I did a stream for Cold War on Tuesday night. And right at the end of it, someone popped into my lobby, crashed my game, and I was like, oh, my game crashed, that's weird. Then loaded back up, and I saw in the corner it said someone joined your party, and then immediately crashed. And it turns out that I got like the very start of the issue, and it got much worse throughout the night, and people were literally just IP grabbing. I got lucky. Oh. I got very lucky.
Right.
It's just...
what a mess.
Yeah, and they're too busy tweeting out saying, oh, you should buy the rat skin for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. They haven't even acknowledged that it's a problem. Like, they literally haven't even said a word about it. It's crazy. So basically, Starbreeze literally would have to do very badly to be worse than Activision right now.
I'm just seeing this comment in chat that seems to think that I've got some sort of great conspiracy against console players just to convert everyone over to the PCs I sell.
Is that not what
you're
doing?
Which I really appreciate.
Is that not what you're doing anyway?
That. That's good stuff.
No. Console players, I'm here for you. Okay, look, I'm here for you. All right. He's not, but I am.
Hang on. I am. Well, got my Switch Pro controller. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, let me just. Here's where I asked. Sorry, that was so childish. that was so childish. Oh my god. Okay. Right. So, final question before we open up to the floor, because I saw it mentioned earlier, and it kind of ties onto what we were saying about 20 minutes ago about how many heists to be in Payday 3. If you had to pick, it doesn't have to be just one. It could be several. Pick specific heists to come back as classics, because it's all but confirmed by Elizabeth, because her response to like a Reddit AMA last year that was like, will there be any classic heists? She was like, you'll have to wait and see when the game comes out, which is basically their way of saying there is, but we can't tell you that officially. What heists do you think will come back as classic heists in Payday 3? Be it at launch or later down the line. What do you think? Start with you, because we have to wait about half an hour for it to appear
Yeah,
in chat
no,
anyway.
I personally don't want to see any. I just want it to be a new game. I don't want. I'm happy with a few sort of homages, but anything that's just a direct heist port, nah.
Have you played Black Ops Cold War?
Yeah.
So like D Machine then, basically, where it took Nactor and Toten and then went, here's much more.
Yeah.
That's
So,
I like that. I like that.
You could. It would be fun to have the like. The one that's been in all of the games is like the jewelry storefront, right? Like that was in Raid and things like that. It would be fun to have that as some part of a map, but not actually a totally retooled heist. I just don't think relying on that is necessarily the best strategy for the game. I mean, what would you like to see back? And maybe First World Bank would be like the
I think,
obvious
First
go-to,
World Bank is like the synonymous bank that started it all. It would make sense for that to be in Payday 3. That's like an obvious.
In some capacity. And funnily enough, we're in New York, and the original First World Bank was also in New York, so we could do something with that.
Alright, guys, it's a simple job, because you've done it 50 million times before. That's what he was talking about. Somehow First World Bank returned. What are people saying then? Let's see. I'll never forget when Troy had to play Crime Boss on keyboard and didn't know that shift was to run. If that doesn't prove to you how much I prefer consoles, then nothing will. Enjoy that. Do you know what was funny? Did you see me streaming Payday the Heist last week? I don't know if you did.
I saw you the first time you streamed Payday the Heist,
so
like a year or so
I was
ago.
so unused to playing with keyboard and mouse, I knocked my drink over and nearly broke my consoles and my hard drive. Because I literally was so unused to playing games with keyboard, I literally whacked my arm over and went, I've just spilled a full glass of juice. That's not good. And then it took me about 20 minutes on stream to clean it up. So that's how unused to playing keyboard and mouse. I'm normally just sat here with the controller like, let's play. And I don't ever want that to change, you know?
I love playing like more casual cooperative games with controllers, or games like Dark Souls or Monster Hunter, ones that are very controller focused in how they're designed. But at some point I was like, shooters, they gotta be mouse and keyboard.
He's trying to appeal to the console players, but he's not doing well. He's not doing well.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. We've already got your agenda. You're here to promote your PCs and hate on console players. I got it now. It all makes sense. It all works. You want everyone to buy your PCs, as someone already said, just so they play Payday 2 on PC and you get more money. I want a cut.
Genius.
I'm now going to get a cut from your business because you promoted it so much here. That's how it's going to work. So what we said...
What heist do you want to see?
Well, I think First World Bank is logical in terms of what will appear. If I was to pick one... I kind of want to say the Big Bank. That seems a bit too... But, like I mean, you literally said you want heists like that. It'd be nice to get the one that kind of almost is the blueprint, right? Yeah,
I guess. Similar, along the same idea. I just think that if they want to bring back the classics, that can be for way after release. And even then, I'm not super for it. I'd rather see totally new content.
Especially because they wouldn't... Like, it wouldn't be a simple port, would it? They'd have to rebuild it. As they have to do with console stuff, they got to build it from the ground up, pretty much.
From scratch. I am a sucker for nostalgia, so this really is me being like as hardline as I possibly could be, because I know
you enjoyed Spider-Man No Way Home, yeah?
If I've never seen that film, mate.
He likes nostalgia, he says, and doesn't even watch. Doesn't even.
Is that the one with the oh yeah no,
the power of the sun in the palm of my hand.
I haven't watched it.
I can't believe
Not
that.
my world.
Are you gonna watch Across the Spider-Verse even?
No, I love
You've got no taste. But, okay, so let's see what everyone else is saying in the chat then. First World Bank at some point being added would be nice. But yeah, a lot of people saying First World Bank. Big Bang, Shadow Raid, and Hoxton Breakout are the big three for Tony the Tony. What a name.
Hoxton Breakout?
Yeah.
First of all, I kind of love the concept. But
yeah. All right, guys, we're breaking out Hoxton again. Yeah, like I mean, they could reframe it to be like a prison breakout. Kind of like how when they brought classics back, they've like recontextualized it as almost we're doing this again kind of thing. The only one they didn't do that was No Mercy, right?
And the other thing, the other thing, well, yeah, it's hard from a story perspective. Some of them were really clever. Like, I really liked how they reintroduced the diamond, and they made it like, oh, Lot has shares in, what they called? The jewelry people. Garnet Group. Let's go. Let's go get on his nerves. I like that. It was silly, but it was a good way to sort of staple it in. But I'm hoping that the mechanics are so much more in-depth that, like, a Hoxton Breakout would not be very tantalizing anymore.
It wouldn't be the Hoxton Breakout, though. As Jack Van Hoy in the chat just said, it'd be the Houston Breakout. There you go. There you go. It's the Houston breakout.
Sorted.
Brilliant. What else we got? No Mercy and the OG Bank. See, I want to see the OG Bank heist, but I kind of want a new OG Bank heist. I've played that one enough now that I don't really want to play it again in the new game. I want it to be like different banks.
It's what is it? Shark and
Golden Shark.
Someone else's name. Golden Shark. It looks incredible.
Yeah.
If that is in any way, I mean, that's very big bank.
That's a big bank.
That's
a big ass bank.
Now, if you're telling me that is our bog standard bank, I'm there.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna be there anyway. Our jobs rely on it, mate. You can't say that, but.
No, I'm a discerning customer. No pre-ordering.
You're not gonna pre-order it.
That's sort of just a joke, isn't it?
Okay.
Never pre-order in this day.
What if we get what if we get like a Dallas collector's edition where you get a Dallas
only if he
statue?
does the gritty.
Let it go. Let it go. Which actually, here's another one. One more. I keep coming up with questions to ask the chat. If there was a collector's edition of Payday 3, what would you want to see in it? Would you just buy it regardless? What would you want there to be in a collector's edition of Payday 3? If they're shooting for a AAA game, AAA games like their collector's editions, it's not outside the realm of possibility. I'm just interested to see.
Payday merch is super popular, and
even though there's not enough of it,
cool.
Yeah. They could easily do more and get more people to buy stuff without a shadow of a doubt.
It's a very merchandisable game, and I think Starbreeze have cottoned onto that recently. If you look at the press releases and things, it's very like focused around the Payday IP as a wider thing than just a game. Yeah, so maybe we will actually.
If the pre-order is cheaper,
masks make the most sense.
Yeah, if the pre-order is cheaper, then they'll get it. Well, what if they give? Because I think David said this in the chat about half an hour ago, and I meant to bring it up. What if they offer like a special discount of like £10 off if you own Payday 2, something like that? You know, I don't know how they'd be able to track it on consoles, but on PC at the very least, Steam to Steam, they can just check your library and you get a discount.
Weird way of thinking, but I would hate to see Payday get a pre-order discount. I'd hate to see that. That's what Crime War. That's what Crime Boss had, and I feel like that immediately indicates a lack of confidence.
You think so?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to see a pre-order discount.
Fair.
You want to say, like, I'm going to sell this game at this price, it's worth this price.
The chat responses, man, are sending me. I'm like, oh, what would you want in collector's edition? And then here Spricked the Nick said, a gun.
That's an idea.
It's not the same as buying Jedi Survivor and getting a lightsaber, okay? We don't want you actually to buy something that will kill somebody. Let's not do that.
What like gadgets could you have put in? C4 perhaps?
Something that isn't going to hurt people, ideally. A Dallas statue would do the job. A giant medic bag, how about that? A good mask, Dallas jar, let's not do that. One Dallas and one medic bag. Give us the Dozer bobblehead. Wolfpack DLC, a lock beret and a concept art book. Need a medic bag shirt. Suit and mask, maybe a sculpture with a flaming. You get a suit in your collector's edition.
Oh, give me that wolf suit.
Imagine getting a suit.
And the cable ties.
No, yeah, if they get the cable ties, that'd be funny. It comes with cable ties, but I mean, that probably wouldn't get approved either, would it? Why have you got cable ties in your box?
I made a tweet about that relatively recently. It's like, Wolf's design is so edgy. I kind of love it.
In case you guys want to see it again, there it is. He's got cable ties holding his shirt sleeves up. By the way, you should watch this video called Everything We Know So Far About Payday 3. It's a really good video. It was done by someone called Red Arca? I don't know. The video was cool though.
The concept artist behind those is like intimately familiar with all of the characters' personalities, I feel.
Yeah. Every
single one is exuding their, like, Wolf looks like he's not quite sure what he's doing.
Like a psychopath.
He's gonna hurt someone. Well, like, look how he's holding his gun.
Yeah, he literally looks, if he was pulling the trigger, he'd have no leg.
Chains looks like in control and with it. He's got his strap on. Sorry.
He's got what? Sorry.
he's all strapped up.
He likes his pickles, does he?
He does.
Eat that dirt, Deuce.
Dallas looks in charge, the leader, and Hoxton looks his usual sort of suave, but a little bit disinterested self. I love the idea that, I mean, it is the law that Hoxton is this, like, rich, sort of pretty boy from London who was so wealthy, just didn't care.
I can't believe
just wanted to do
one of my
crime.
mods just owned up to never noticing the cable ties on the sleeves. How did you not notice that? How did you... Oh, there we go. Everyone suddenly heard you saying about the strap on.
Sorry.
We should clip that and then tag Damien Poitier in on it, and they'll be like, "What?"
It's the game's good. Oh, yeah, what age rating is it going to be? It was
18, easy, right?
It was recently out for its age rating, wasn't it? I don't think we know what it is yet, but
Was it?
Yeah, I think in the most recent investors relations report, they mentioned that the game had gone out for. It doesn't tell you anything, just that it's close to being finished, close enough to being finished. That is it. ESRB who rates it could say, oh yeah, you can kill civilians in this.
I mean, it says the game is estimated to be suitable for mature adults and age 17 and up, which would make sense.
Yeah. So I can talk about chains and strap on whenever I want.
Yeah, but not on my stream, thank you. Doing it in your own time and on your own bill, thank you very much. You know, I'm trying to make money here. I'm trying to become relevant again. Okay, I need the money. I don't want to be known for no lease strap on. Anyway,
maybe that's the way to go.
I don't think it is. Thank you. Payday 3 Collector's Edition had to get wolf strap on. Can we get away from this, please? Okay, so let's turn the tables over to the viewers, to the listeners, to the people who are going to be buying Payday 3, enjoying Payday 3. All right, ladies and gentlemen. What questions have you got for us about Payday 3? Our opinions on things, what we think is going to happen in the game, what will be included in the game, what we want in the game, anything at all. Like, what do we want for breakfast the day Payday 3 comes out? I don't really care. But the only rule is you can't mention the strap-on. That's it. That's the only thing you can't mention. Okay, you do that, then Elian, just tan them out or something. I don't know. He's literally joining in, so I don't even know if I can trust my mod to keep everyone quiet. Anyway.
It was a genuine, innocent mistake.
Yeah, there's nothing innocent about what you say, Apex, am I right? Let's see what everyone's thinking. It'll be interesting. So, to conclude so far, we think that Payday 3 is still coming out this year, in hopefully a few months' time. You think we'll see gameplay this month. I think you're dreaming. You know, we agree on most things, so...
Yeah, and I wonder if the game will follow the beta model as well. I wouldn't be surprised if it had a beta before going completely. It'll probably do the same pre-order for beta access that games like to do. Payday 2, the way it worked was, if I remember, if you got the loot bag edition, you also got a code for a friend. That's what I did.
Oh, that's cool.
10 years ago. Yeah, I'd rather just have access to the beta, but...
Well, I mean, Overkill partners, can we get some beta access? Thank you. That's just me lobbying in a public video for them to do that. All right, let's see. Questions have come in. Let's have a little peek. Let's pick something out. Skills and perks. Ooh, says Mr. Dallas 101 Gaming. What do you want for skills and perks?
Yeah, I don't know whether we'll get the perk system. I always see the perk system as like we're not happy with how our skills and skill setups work right now. This is just a way we're going to take it sideways, and we're going to fix what we have and make it something we like more. So I'm not sure we'll get perks, at least in the same way we have perks at the moment. The game will absolutely have skills. I would say 99% certain.
I think, yeah, I personally think they'll just consolidate to skills and go back to basics and not have perk decks. Perk decks just... They work in Payday 2, but it feels like it's more than you need. Like, if they added a bit more customization in the skills that had some of the stuff perk decks had, you could easily consolidate that stuff together, I feel like. You know what I mean?
And as far as skills are concerned, I want more role-playing skills. And actually, release Payday 2 had more role-playing skills than Payday 2 currently has. But for the sake of balance, everything was homogenized a bit. So I would like to see way more specialization, maybe skills that unlock gadgets, skills that unlock specific interactions with certain enemy types, with certain civilians, things like that. I love immersive sims, and I think the more Payday goes in that direction, the more of a sort of long-term success it will be.
Replayability,
yeah. But also, they have to nail the gunplay, because that's why Payday 2 succeeded for so long. I think that's probably the number one reason. If mods are in the top 3, I think just satisfying gunplay is like number 1.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like I don't want the skill system to change too much. This might be a hot take, I don't know, but I've always been a staunch defender of how Payday 2's skill system works. I really like that you can get any combination of skills with any character, with any gun, and you can change that on the fly with like the profiles and stuff. It's one of the most openly customizable and like remixable games in existence, and I really dislike that Raid World War 2 when that came out basically went, forget that, here's 3 skills, you pick one, you stick with it unless you want to mix everything. And I don't like when a game forces you into a box that's so tight that you'd have to effectively restart the game to change things. I think Payday 2 did it perfectly, but they could do what you're saying. You could have it still be just as openly customizable, but have things that are more specific, like specific skills that you can hone in on, and then you can have several profiles, because by the way, profiles need to be in the game from day one. We need to have several loadouts and be able to change them on the fly, in lobbies and stuff. That'd be great. But then you could have this very customizable layout, have things that are a bit more focused on, the shotgunner or the explosives guy or whatever it may be, and you can still change them. So just basically like a refinement rather than an overhaul. There are quite a few things I feel like in Payday 3 to be overhauled and completely changed and improved. I don't think the skill system is one of them. I think you can consolidate it and make it a bit more kind of class specific in terms of what you can pick. But beyond that, I don't want to see much change, I feel like. I don't know.
It's interesting. I would actually point it in the direction closer to how it was at release. Admittedly, I know you've played the Xbox version a lot, even relatively recently, so you know how painful it is to respec and to do anything like that. Maybe those quality of life things shouldn't disappear, but there was something kind of cool about how specialized you felt, how much of a role you felt you were playing within the team.
Yeah,
it's harder to get these days.
And can I add in, can we not have, when you pick a character, you have that character's traits? I know you've said this before, that you really like the idea of playing a specific character and having their traits. Don't do that, purely because give players the option. I think, if I remember, it wasn't Dead Island, one of the other Dead Island games. I played a game a while ago where you picked a character, and each character had their own specific traits, but you picked which traits went with which character. I get that everyone has their own unique thing, but let someone play as Dallas and have Chains' traits to something, even if it doesn't make logical sense. Yeah, I don't want to have to play as Chains to be more brutal up close or something, or whatever traits you pick for someone. That would feel like too much of a regression. I
appreciate that, and I've come to terms with the fact that whilst I might like the role-playing mechanics of it, I think you're probably right.
Yeah, it'll be a bit too specific for a game so customizable, I feel.
Yeah, and you'd pigeonhole people into very specific playstyles, from all the polls I've done, if Jacket was ever added to the game, everyone would just play Jacket, and there'd be a lot less variety of how the game is played. So I agree. What I would really like to see, the sort of caveat I took from that was, I would love there to be specific animations and more specific interactions, because that's what makes you fall in love with a character. It's their voice lines, but you can also get that from how they do things in the game. But that sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah. It's finding a balance in it.
That. Yeah, and I think we will go back to 4 characters on launch. I do think that now. So you would hope that they'd be really refined, really deep, really interesting, and I'll be defaulting to my boy Hoxton if it is that way, probably, and I'll just be looking at Wolf.
Valid
sweet coat.
If we can just quickly say, by the way, because I've just asked people to repaste their question, because there was a lot of comments on what we were talking about there specifically. Anyone watching, if you haven't already dropped a like on the live stream, I would really appreciate it. And if this is your first time to the channel, please do subscribe. My sub growth has been very slow for about 2 years now, so I'm looking for a way to change that. So if you guys are watching this and you're enjoying it, you maybe hear from Noli or anything in between, please do hit that sub button. I would really appreciate it. A lot of Payday focused stuff on here, and yeah, drop a like. I'd appreciate it. There's currently 100-ish people watching, and we've got 61 likes, so can we get up to 100 likes? That's your challenge. If you do that, you will get nothing, but please do it. Thank you. So let's see what everyone's saying in the chat. What are the next questions? You pick something out this time, because I went for skills and perks. What are you
the problem is I'm seeing it on the screen, and it's rather small.
Can you get a pop out from the actual live stream, maybe?
I could do. Hang on. I think I saw. Here we go.
YouTuber, by the way.
I'm seeing just a lot of reference to the word strap.
How far behind are you? Oh, oh right. No, I see level 5's comment.
How much should stealth change is a good one that I thought would be worth talking about, especially because you're a big fan of stealth, and I'm a fan of stealth too. I think Payday's system is kind of flawed, but then I've played what's Crime War? That's the one. I've played the mobile game stealth system, and I've started to appreciate why we have 4 pages, because otherwise the game is weird. I think the number one thing that has to be improved in stealth is the AI. They have to be more adaptive. They have to learn and watch behavioral patterns and things like that. That's the key, because then you could get rid of pages. If the security was smart enough to realize one of our number are missing. We need to search for them. You don't need a pager to go off to limit the number you can take out in a heist. But so the AI is the limiting factor there in Payday 2, and I actually think it's resulted in a really tight stealth system that's very discreet and fun once you've learned it. But I don't think it's the best it could be.
Neither do I. I'm very much used to it, but I kind of want to see, because my opinion has always been things like Silent Assassin, people have mod that into Payday 2. That changes the game mechanics too much. I feel like that is just cheating. That's my personal opinion. Whether you like it or not, you can suck it up. But I actually think that that's a good framework for what you could do in Payday 3. Because what I want to see is something a bit more realistic. Because if you think about it, because we want Payday 3 to feel more grounded. We don't want it to feel as goofy and as archaic as Payday 2 does, right? We're both kind of like in agreement there. We want like kind of a grounded heisting experience, yeah?
Yeah.
I was gonna you just go no and then ruin my point.
Just read the chat, sorry.
What I want realistically is something to feel a bit more like that, because at base right now, if you were to explain it in real life terms, when you stealth a heist in Payday 2, you can kill up to 4 guards and then talk to the same pager person and be like, yeah, everything's fine, don't worry about it. It's not realistic. If I was a pager operator and twice I got someone with the same voice saying, don't worry, there's no problem, I'd be raising the alarm, let alone 4 times. It doesn't make much sense. I would love to see something, like you said, adaptive AI, very important part. But I would like the idea that you could take out as many guards as you wanted, kind of a bit like a Hitman system. Because Hitman's kind of stealth element works quite well. It's adaptive. If a camera sees you, you need to deal with that later down the line. Like, if you take out a guard and the camera sees it, that's similar to Payday 2. There's the elements of it already there. But I don't think there needs to be some kind of soft cap on, once you kill 4 guards, the 5th one is when everyone comes down on you. That just seems a bit excessive. Like, if you can make it a way where you can take out as many guards as you want, but do it in a stealthy and tactful way, you can mess with the playing field a bit more and have a bit more experimentation, I feel like. It's just a bit too rigid in Payday 2.
Yeah, it was necessary to make it work. Otherwise,
yeah, 100%.
I mean, back at launch, you could just dominate guards and their pages wouldn't go off.
Yeah.
So you just go around,
That's cool.
dominate
I
the whole
that.
map, sorted. It was too easy, obviously. Once you had got rid of once you got rid of cameras, you could just easily control the map. It was
every heist was yours, so yeah.
Yeah, but it's all contingent on having a more intelligent AI. And I'm also a stealth zoomer. I'm a Molotov boy. I set fire to my feet. I use the Akaza, and I go fast. That kind of thing is good fun. But again, it's not the kind of thing I expect to see from Payday 3.
Absolutely not.
Stealth be more tactical. There might even be distraction tactics, things like that. We might see new equipment that's useful in stealth, not just ECM jammers, body bags, things that distract, things that jam comms. Yeah, that's what I would hope for. Just a lot more nuance, a lot more tactics.
My background just turned
We've lost the background.
Yeah, it must have been set to loop. There we go. It's now re-looping. It was I literally left Payday 2 open at one point and recorded it for 1 hour and 15 minutes. So there you go.
I see.
I will not set it to loop, and there we go. If we keep going for another hour and 15, then it'll loop again, but I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, so changes to stealth. Stealth definitely needs more work, 100%. Let's see what people are saying beyond that then. What's our next one going to be? I love how you picked out a question based on something you don't do as much. Like, you're like, oh, yeah, stealth, let's do that. Let's go with that.
Hey, I stealth a fair bit, I just prefer loud.
Alright, who are you trying to convince? Come on. Okay, you know what I realised as well that was really weird? We haven't actually done something together on like YouTube properly since I moved into this room. And I've been in this setup for like 2 years. When you were on the Redcast, I was still downstairs in my...
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
And I was in a completely different room. And that wasn't even the place that was like two rooms ago.
Yeah, I didn't even get to interview you when you're in your kitchen era.
Sync ledge. That's when I was a true streamer.
Good times. Good times.
Yeah, I missed that. But that's clearly the reason I've had to stop streaming is because I just can't help but like say strange things.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get banned off the platform.
Welcome to the Payday 3 strap-on stream, as he would say. That's gonna be. I'm gonna make sure that your chat knows about that whenever you stream next. Be like, do you guys remember that one time he mentioned strap-ons? Anyway, so let's pick something out. What have we got? I've been playing Thief Simulator at the minute, and one of the mechanics in that is NPCs notice open doors, etc., meaning you have to close them behind you, which could be good in Payday 3. Yeah, as an add-on, that's good. That's good.
But when that is the case in Payday 2, it's dreadful, which is indicative of Payday 2's system. It's very, like I said, very fixed. It has to work the way it does, and where anything works differently, it's a nightmare.
Wasn't it in was it in Big Bang? I think originally, guards would notice the vault door being open.
The vault door open, yeah.
Yeah, and that didn't change on console for much longer than it did on PC. So like Big Bang was pretty much unstealthable. And
in Payday 3, absolutely the case. They should. It's a goddamn open vault. In Payday 2, it just doesn't work.
In Payday 3, like if you can work it, like the thing is, I wouldn't expect vault doors to be something you actually open in stealth. You know what? I'd expect you to find a stealthy way in. Like if you're going in guns blazing, yeah, you'd open the vault door. But if you're going in stealth, you try and find a different way in, or do some kind of system like think Hitman 3, where you have how much of the Hitman games you played recently?
I've never played the Hitman game.
Okay, so to try and give you the context, there are certain like storylines in inverted commas you can do in the sandbox. If you put a certain outfit on, you can follow a particular event that's happening, whether it's like this character's getting a job interview with your target, become them, get in the interview, get alone with them, kill them.
Yeah.
Like you can create little events like that. If you could do that in Payday 2, where like, you know, if you trigger a set amount of things, the vault would open and everyone will think it's normal. Kind of like how in Big Bang, when you're waiting for the time lock to go down, genset call and go, is this normal? Oh yeah, we just had a change of schedule. Like you can adapt that kind of thing in so that NPCs don't react to it, but you've set an in-universe explanation as to why, and then it's logical and also easier to do and more fun. So they could do that too. What are they even called, David? You can tell me. What are the names? Mission storylines or something. I don't remember what they're called. Some kind of nickname for them, but you get the idea. I still haven't actually read out a question though, have I? Let's see what we've got. What about the purchasing of assets and using favors in the planning screen? Personally, I want more pre-planning. What do you think about pre-planning for this?
Yeah, completely overhaul the system. It's funny, when I did the video with my girlfriend and she played the game, she was the first person I've ever seen pay attention to the goddamn map. And then she got into the heist and was like, "Where's my map?" Which I thought was quite funny.
Yeah.
But actually, I think she was onto something, and we've all just been gaslit into thinking that this is fine. But Payday has this awesome detailed map and a really cool pre-planning screen that you can draw all sorts of phallic images on.
Amoguses.
But shouldn't be. It's all there to actually plan out a tactical heist, but it's just never
been used that way.
Used. Yeah. I think pre-planning is a little bit simplistic and not very interesting, and I think having a more in-depth pre-planning would play into this idea of a more in-depth and interesting skill system too. So the two things kind of go hand to hand.
If we go back to what we said about hostile takeover, and I said imagine if you had some kind of tablet you could bring up on screen that showed you all your objectives. Imagine if you had the pre-planning screen in a similar sense in Payday 3, you did your annotations on it. Hopefully no one drawing Among Us ass on it, because that's all I get on mine. Everyone just keeps drawing Among Us characters with like big peachy backsides. They love that. Yeah. But like, assuming people would take it somewhat seriously, which adding a razor tool for the host so they can get rid of stuff, that would be quite a good idea, you know, to try and keep on top of it. But you could have it so that everything that's drawn on there and that map is then accessible in game. You bring it up, you see people, you know, pointing to arrows for directions people to go in, for like where certain dead drops are, and you can find them, and there's also live blips as to where you are. That'd be a really cool idea. It's like, Dallas, you are here, medic bag is up over here, and you can move around. Because I felt like that too when pre-planning first got added, because I was like, this is really cool. There's a map and everything, and then I was like, but I'm not going to remember it when I start playing the game.
But I think Payday 2's big issue is that it kind of has optimal pre-planning setups. Do you ever change it up from heist to heist? When I do Big Bang, I never don't do elevator trick. I never don't do thermite if I'm going loud.
I don't now, purely because of how they did the favors. That's the problem. Because they reduced the favors for just elevator trick, whereas bus stop and the other one, C4 tunneling, they didn't change them. Like, if they had kept those and lowered the favors, I genuinely would alternate between bus stop, elevator trick, and maybe not C4 tunneling. The sniper's a bit annoying there, but I bounce between them, because if you ask me what my favorite escape is, it's bus stop. That is so cool. I love that. But not just because it was Dark Knight-esque, but, like, you know.
But there is an optimal choice, and that's always the problem. And I think it's the same with the skill system. It's one of my big issues with Payday 2, and it's less of a problem when you're not playing Death Wish Death Sentence, when you're not on the absolute hardest difficulty, and you can use more of the niche skills. But when I create a build, it's never like, oh, today I'm going to be the technician and I'm going to play around these mechanics. I'm going to create a good build and I might stick some sentries in there. There's none of that depth. You need certain skills, really, to be of use to your team when you play on Death Sentence.
Like Inspire.
And without them, you're simply nerfing yourself. So it's a problem with the difficulty, first and foremost, I think. But also, it's a slight issue with the skill system. There's not enough top-tier viability. There is like a path you should go. If you're using X weapon, you should go this way. If you're using Y weapon, this way. And that limits things. So same with assets, pre-planning, skills. And this might just be because Payday 2 is solved. And so for the first month of Payday 3, we'll be like, oh yeah, I tried this and it was amazing. And then you find out a month later it's awful. It's nowhere near the optimal option. But I do think that things aren't very well balanced there, and having an optimal approach is never a good thing.
No, I agree. I really do. Also, to Yurimi's comment saying, I know we probably won't get it back, but a remastered Golden Ring Casino would be amazing. I don't know about you. I don't want Golden Ring Casino back. I'd like them to do it Casino, but do it better. Golden Ring Casino is a great map, but in terms of like them pitching, you can have a go at the slots and stuff. There's not really much you could do. I'd love it if they could make a casino where you actually could interact and play a few more games, be a bit more interactive before you can play the heist. Something that just feels a bit more in depth. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, like I'd love the idea that you could just go up and put like 10k from your offshore into a game of blackjack and just play a little mini game in the middle of it. That'd be great. That'd be cool.
Imagine if that was a distraction technique.
That'd be so good though, wouldn't it? I would happily do that. I love playing blackjack and like GTA and stuff. I'd be sitting there like, yep, hit. No, okay, again, hit. I'd be there for like 10 minutes happily while someone someone goes in the vault.
But all these amazing ideas like that are limited by co-op. That doesn't work unless you've got a mate going in, which I suppose is where you look at the AI, and this was my big takeaway from Crime Boss. Payday's team AI for single player needs to be better and needs to have these sorts of options.
Or you could say that those are certain things that are locked off to playing with friends, which some people wouldn't like, I know, and your challenge run loving backside would not like that, but like it's a nice idea that, you know, you could run things along yourself and you could make it work, and then if you have a friend along and go, actually this time I'm going to distract them and you do this. And maybe there are, like, I wouldn't want it to be methods that are infinitely easier that you do with friends. I don't want there to be, like, a massive disparity between if you don't play with friends, you're not doing nearly as well. That's not what I want at all. But I like the idea that maybe having an extra person there would open up more doors. It's a co-op game. You want it to feel a bit co-op-y. And that if you play solo, some things might not run the exact same way, but you won't feel like you're at a massive detriment for not having other people there.
Yeah.
Team AI are an interesting one because I don't know how well they can do the team AI or how well they can improve them to do that kind of thing for you. If you can get them to do the distractions, that'd be great. You know, Chains, you go play blackjack. Got it. Get strap on out.
Classic Damien, eh?
Classic. No, it's not. No, poor Damien.
It's funny because that isn't even the only casino we've had in Payday 2. They've had 2 chances at this. Black Cat.
I'm going to be honest with you, I forget Black Cat even exists. That is one of my least favourite stealths in the revival era of Payday 2.
Really?
By the way, they don't really have a name for Payday 2's like return since Border Crossing, and I mentioned this to you, I was like, I've just called it the revival era the whole time. And they were like, that's a good idea, I like that. I can't remember which dev said it, but they were like, yeah. Like, I feel like it's a good term for it. But like,
I've always called it post White House. But yeah.
Revival era, bro. It goes hard, you know? Everyone in the chat, from now on, if you're referring to anything since Border Crossing, call it the revival era. Let's make it a thing. It works, and you will know it does. Anyway, by the way, let's just check how many likes we got to. 84. 16 likes away, people. Come on. I said to you I'd do absolutely nothing. That should be enough of a motivation for you. What else have we got? Oh, there you go. KMD's already using the term. What revival heist would you want to see as a classic? I'm going to say Bullocks mentioned Mountain Master and Crude Awakening. They deserve it. They literally funded Payday 3. We haven't even played Crude Awakening yet.
Crude Awakening.
I was going to say, you're getting a bit ahead of yourself there, aren't you? Do you mean Hostile Takeover? I don't... If you had to pick your favourite heist in the revival era, what would you pick?
Bullocks. Bullocks is the best.
And you'd say it firmly.
Yeah, I really like Ukrainian Prisoner, but I don't think it's the best. I just really like it.
I like Ukrainian Prisoner, but apparently I don't like it as much as everyone else does. I get loads of people in my chat being like, you should play Ukrainian Prisoner. I'm like, I'm not sure. I don't I don't look at that one as like one of my favorites. It's definitely one of the better map designs, but in terms of replayability, I don't know, I just don't vibe with it as much for replay.
But Bullocks is a sick heist.
Bullocks is
like,
so
visually, gameplay wise, there's more choice. You can go down two different routes, obviously. It's not a bullet sponge boss, which is actually a good thing, I think. There's a sort of puzzle. Payday used to have puzzles, and now it doesn't. And there's a sort of puzzle with the animals. There's a couple of steps you have to go, because unless you know ancient Mayan, you're gonna have a hard time doing the translation just by name. Oh yeah, that's a monkey. I know
was that actually based on old-fashioned Mayan stuff? Like was that contextually accurate?
The names and things.
Oh,
yeah.
good.
Yeah, I think bats is monkey, and that's right. I at least know that one.
He studied Mayan, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, pick something out. What have you got? What have you got your eyes on for questioning?
The only thing I see in the chat in all caps is optional setups.
Yeah,
I don't know what that means.
I've seen that, Ruben. The problem is you're not explaining yourself. What do you mean by optional setups? Like, is it optional for you to have a gaming setup? Is it optional that you set up your friends for them to fail? What are you saying? Provide context. Hey, context matters. Come on.
What setups aren't optional?
Exactly.
Ooh.
That's deep. I hope the destructible environments are a huge deal. It's level 5.
I was actually going to mention.
Go on.
No,
Evolution.
What's that game that did very well on
Teardown?
Steam? Yeah.
Coming to PS5. That was like one of the things from the PlayStation Showcase that got me really excited.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I really wanted to play that game and never got it on PC. I had it wishlisted on Steam, never got it. Watched quite a few of Smitty's videos playing it and be like, this game looks so goofy. And now they're like, it's coming on PS5. I'm like, sorted. Because it looks like so fun. Like everything, it's like, because it is a bit of a heist. Like there are some like heist elements to it. Like sometimes you are robbing things and you can just completely destroy walls and everything.
I do think Levolution actually works really well in heisting games conceptually. Right.
Blow a hole in a wall, get in. It's great.
Get from A to B, yeah. And when the cops do it in Payday 2, it's like, oh, that's cool. That doesn't happen very often.
It's cool, yeah. I wish it wasn't so fixed, but it is brilliant.
Yeah. It's when the car drives, the SWAT van drives into the side of the building and counterfeit. It's like, whoa! I can't believe that.
Ruben's just explained himself, and I'm surprised. He means like getting the drill and weapons like GTA 5 setups, but optional. Ooh.
So I'm not playing enough of the GTA 5 heist to know.
Mate, you know what? This guy, he plays Payday 2 and Fallout New Vegas, and that's it. He thinks he knows gaming.
I have like 6,000 hours in Smite. Okay.
Okay, so that explains why you haven't got much culture. Fair enough. I just wanted to check. No, seriously. So in GTA 5, in story mode and online, the idea is you pick a heist, and then you do set up missions leading up to the heist. So it's like, you need to get this person so you can do the hacking, get this vehicle so they can do that, and then you go into the final heist. Which
that's very crime boss.
Yeah, it was a cool feature I like in GTA 5 story. The problem with it is the more they do it, the less fun it gets because it ruins for me the replayability. Because a lot of people in my Twitch know how I feel about one of the more recent GTA Online heists, Cayo Perico. They added like a whole island, and it was designed to be this special heist. But every single time you redo it, you have to go onto the island, sneak through a whole amount of guards and cameras that have really annoying detection mechanics, and then figure out what's in the vault to come back again. That takes like 10-20 minutes. Then you got to do a whole bunch of setups. Like the actual heist is probably about 10 to 20% of what you're doing, so it doesn't feel like there's much fun there. So I like that Ruben said optional setups, so that you don't have to go along the path. But
they give you an advantage, maybe.
Yeah, something like that would be good. That would be an interesting idea.
You wouldn't want that on every heist.
No.
That system literally exists in Crime Boss, and it can be a little frustrating to play around, and there aren't very many heists in that game anyway. They're a bit limited, so it feels like it's designed to stretch them out a little bit, give them more content and context, to be fair. But I'm not sure it would suit the, like you said, more replayable Payday style focus.
You don't want it to feel too much like a drag, and I worry if you added too much stuff like that, it would become one. Because like Cayo Perico and GTA, that had the potential to be one of the most fun replayable heists in existence, and then the amount of baggage they laid it on top of it for replays just ruined it for me. There's someone in my Discord who loved Cayo Perico and for literally like 3 months kept replaying it, and I was like Ella was like, I don't know how you're doing that, because it just gets so boring. Like, respect to him for not getting bored. I was like, I don't know how you manage that. Oh, here you go. All right, let's just shut this down. Arumi, you had a semi-decent idea by saying bring back Golden Grin, although you agreed with me when I said, revamp it. I do not want to see Payday 3 turning into Fortnite, okay? All right, let's not do that. I wonder if Payday 3 will have a battle pass.
It's funny that.
You love battle passes, don't you, Noli? You love battle passes. You want them everywhere, right? Big Fortnite gamer, you are.
Love it. I've never played Fortnite.
He's never played any games, ladies and gentlemen. You ever played the hit PS2 game Hello Kitty Roller Rescue?
No.
See, he's got no taste, ladies and gentlemen. He's got no taste.
Sorry.
If anyone has, by the way, if anyone in the chat has played that, I know it sounds like a random game for me to have played. For some reason, my mum bought me when I was like 7, but it actually went really hard, and it was a really fun game. You walked around as a penguin, whacking people with a pan. It was great. Like, as a kid, that was amazing to me. I love that. But no,
I don't see a battle pass coming personally. There might be actually. I don't want to.
This is the thing. I don't want to like smack talk it too much because I'm genuinely worried that it's fairly likely.
So I won't name any names, but I've seen Payday devs, senior Payday devs, mocking the battle pass system.
Oh.
But that doesn't necessarily mean anything because normally battle passes are a corporate decision anyway.
Yeah,
but
tightly just.
I've seen them shot down before, or at least derided by them. So maybe not.
It would be, yeah. Let's say this: if they do get battle passes, please make it simple. Don't make it some big overcomplicated thing. The way Call of Duty does it now, you literally each page of battle pass is a map, and you pick a particular district to clip. You don't you're just trying too hard to make something unique there and overcomplicating it.
It's that, and also I know because I played Modern Warfare 2 at
have
launch.
you?
It confused me.
Yeah. It
confused me to the point at which I was like, well, how does this work? And I don't think I was doing it properly. So... No,
it's just a bad system. It's just a bad system generally. But yeah, the problem is while I'm not battle passes, I was kind of egging on saying no. Battle passes I don't mind like as a general thing. It very much depends on the game that you've got, right? It depends on what you're playing and how the system works. Some games have battle passes that work, a la Fortnite. You know, it was the game that started it all off. But Fortnite, its battle pass system works, and I like it a lot. Whereas other games that try and bring it in, it becomes the risk of feeling a bit too forced, I feel like. So, you know, in Payday 2, you basically almost got a battle pass via the infamy system, right? But that's like a very elongated battle pass where you're only getting up a tier every time you've played to get 23 million or now 30 million XP for the infamy pool. It's not like something you're regularly ticking up unless you've got some big strat to cheese it.
And it's free and part of the game.
And it's free as well, yeah. I wonder, I don't know. The problem is I feel so numb to them at this point because they're in so many games that I kind of almost expect Payday 3 to have one, which is a problem because they might be expecting other people to just be like, it's going to be one, we better just tolerate it.
Yeah, as a live service.
Yeah, because that's the thing with live service games, there's a few options, and we've kind of talked about this before, but you can either have all DLC, you can have the money being from microtransactions, you can have battle passes, there can be a mix of the three. I feel like if they go from microtransactions to battle passes, they'll make all DLC updates free. And I wonder if in today's market they're going to prefer that purely because how many games can you name nowadays that come out, big multiplayer games, shooters in particular, that still have any kind of DLC model?
I agree, yeah. It's funny because Payday 2's obviously maintained it, and it's worked fine over the last few years on PC.
But had it released 5 years later, 6 years later,
yeah,
it would never have had it.
I think I generally agree with you. I think the idea behind it is if you add a free update, it brings everyone back. If you add a DLC update, it doesn't necessarily, it only brings the payers back. You know, so if you bring everyone back, everyone will check it out, and then they might buy the battle pass, they might spend then. I just think it's got a higher sort of spread and ability to create interest, which is why that's been the focus. But it seems like games require a battle pass to function like that these days, from what I see. And obviously it's there in Crime War, the Crime Pass. That's not in any way controlled by Starbreeze. They're just the licensee of that game. It's the Pop Reach decision, but they're mobile experts by all accounts, so they know what's best for that market.
Like that's the thing. I play like a handful of mobile games, and most of them have some kind of battle pass thing in it, and I don't really buy into nearly any of them because I just don't. It's because it's mobile gaming. Mobile games is not something I take super seriously. I have a couple of mobile games that I play like on occasion, or like I'll leave an idle game open on my phone like to level it up because there's a Doctor Who one and it's very addictive for me personally because I'm stupid like that and neurons activation. So, you know, I just don't really invest in that stuff too much. But yeah, like so many games have them now, and I just, because the problem is some big games, especially like Call of Duty now, like they've gone on record and said that like they make so much more money from the microtransactions and the like the post-launch sales than they ever do from actual copies of the game being sold. It genuinely wouldn't surprise me if in 5 years' time Call of Duty starts having free-to-play releases. I genuinely would not be surprised by that. That wouldn't shock me.
It's the direction things are going. Yeah.
So, I mean, what did I literally say earlier? I mean, Cold War is a game that's not even 3 years old. It's got people that can literally IP ban you now, or like get your IP details and pass them on. And they're like, real ones have rat skins in Modern Warfare 2. Literally the most recent tweet Call of Duty made in the middle of all that. And they were like replying to people saying, I bought the skin, like, wow, you're really cool. Like,
wow.
They're so, like, because the stuff sells so well, they're like, we're just gonna ride on that and just keep going, you know? So, I don't want it to go to that point. That's what worries me. There's a level you could do battle passes without abusing the system. I just don't. I don't know. Interesting point from my mod though, Elian, saying I miss loot boxes. That's how much I despise modern microtransaction systems. Loot boxes were dodgy. They always were, but there was something quite fun about the idea of, you know, earning something and being like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to get here. If the system is broken like it was in Advanced Warfare, it's a mess. But if you could do it in a way that was kind of, you know, it was all cosmetic for one thing, that's a very important element. But the problem with loot boxes is very often you need to have something in there to make it worth the purchase, and that meant non-cosmetic.
They've sort of been legislated out of prevalence, haven't they? All the anti-gambling law stuff makes loot boxes harder to do. I don't think loot boxes would go down very well in Payday 3 just because of the history of it all.
No, they wouldn't.
But KMD makes a good point that Dead by Daylight managed a huge DLC release that brought players back. Obviously it was a Resident Evil crossover, so it was a pretty big name IP they were doing a DLC for. But it's funny you should say that, because Dead by Daylight's an old Starbreeze game. Obviously they sold off the rights back when they went through the troubles, as we call them.
The dark times.
But that was the original Starbreeze model, I suppose, which Payday 2 has always had. So maybe they'll keep with it. Maybe they think it works.
Maybe. When this AWL said Overwatch did loot boxes best. See, I never played Overwatch 1. I got him to Overwatch 2.
I liked the Overwatch 1 loot boxes well enough because you just leveled up and you got free stuff, you got a little dopamine hit. And it seems like Overwatch 2, there's just a regression from that. Yeah,
they've tried to make it a bit easier to earn skins now, but like my main thing was like, oh, I was always interested in the Overwatch world, and then they went, oh, we're going to be adding PvE. I was like, that'll be really fun. I'll get into the Overwatch world, and that'll be great. And now they've basically said that's canned. Like, all my motivation to play Overwatch is just kind of like gone.
I can appreciate that.
It's, you know, I've just gone back to how I felt originally, where I'm like, I'm not even sure I'm that arsed anymore. It's just a bit of a mess. You don't necessarily need non-cosmetic items to make it work. Look, games like TF2, and someone also earlier, you're like saying CSGO. It can work, but the problem is those games are very, very old. If those games had come out today and had those systems, would people buy into them as much? Like there is definitely a nostalgia perspective where you play a classic game like those and you go, oh, hello, he's the Sunny Noli.
It's gone dark.
Oh, it's going a little bit dark in my room, but I'm
trying to. There we go. That might be a bit better.
A little bit. But yeah, like if those games come out today, they would not be as successful with their systems. And it's like Payday 2, as you said, with the DLC. Like, Payday 2 has probably just gone, this DLC model's worked, we'll just stick with it for this game. But if it had come out in 2017, 2018, I guarantee you it wouldn't run the same way. A lot of it plays on when a game actually came out and people's nostalgia for it and how you introduce it as a new feature rather than something that the game had a base. It's difficult. And you also don't want to add loot box systems that become too much of a grind. I know Hot Wheels Unleashed, when that came out, there was like a loot box system to get like new cars, and people came up with like ways to hack it where you build your own racetrack and you could just kind of like loop it around in a straight line or something and you get like coins and stuff. So you've got to balance it in a way where people feel like they're not grinding it too much and you're also getting interesting stuff, but then doesn't become pay to win. So like that's the problem with microtransactions. It depends on what avenue they go down, and then whichever one they pick, whether it's a battle pass or loot boxes or an actual cosmetic store, it's just a gigantic can of worms, and once you open it, it's very difficult to close it again. So I don't know.
But things are, we have a much higher level of tolerance for things that 5 years ago we'd probably be like, this is awful practice.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, maybe that's just the way it will go.
Yeah, it may well be. I've just put in the chat to get people to paste their questions.
I saw a couple of questions that I was holding on to just because they seem very interesting.
Go for it.
People were asking about difficulty. I think the upper echelon of difficulty, one down, and death sentence. Yeah. So for that, if you look back at the history of Payday 2, death sentence, death wish, everything above overkill was added retroactively to make the game harder. And actually, the lower difficulties were, I believe, made easier. But for the most part, they were actually just made easier by power creep on the heisters' end. Skills, weapons, everything got more powerful for us. I would expect the upper end of difficulty to be difficult in the way Overkill was in launch Payday 2, where it's difficult by virtue of the fact you don't have a lot to make it easy. Because right now, you can make Death Sentence very manageable because you've got ridiculous perk decks that make you almost unkillable if you know exactly what you're doing with them. So the difficulty is kind of moot, because you've got people in the past who were able to do those million-level crime sprees where you would be one-shot by everything, but they're able to get through it because of kind of broken mechanics, like what Anarchist offers with the 2-second grace period, things like that. So difficulty is sort of all over the place. Payday 3 will be a difficult game. I can tell you that. It's like one of the #1 Overkill model focuses, I would say. They've always believed in that.
He's been in their meetings. He knows these things, obviously.
It's always, from Payday the Heist to Payday 2 to even Raid, it was a hard game. I know that was a line game, Lion 1, but difficulty is going to be important. The game will be hard, but I don't think it'll be hard in the way Death Sentence is hard. And I noticed probably my #1 compliment for Crime War was the fact that difficulty doesn't just scale by increasing the number of enemies you fight and the amount of health they have. It actually adds more complex objectives. So, easy example, bank heist in Crime War on the easy difficulty is just a simple case of drill through the vault, just as you would in Payday 2. On normal, you get through, and there's actually a second keycard gated gate there, and you need to go find that keycard in the map, and it's within a safe. So that's difficulty by adding greater complexity, adding more mechanics, and that's really how I'd like to see difficulty done. Add more objectives, don't just throw more crap at us.
Yeah. You thought this through. Everyone. That was a really well argued description. I like that. You really were cooking that answer. Was there anything else you wanted to look at before we look at what people have asked since?
And the other question was actually about like the storytelling.
Oh, go on. Everyone just kick up your feet for a second. Let him roll into this one.
Very close.
Hang on, where's my, there we go. All right, so you just say what you need to say. I'll just chill for a bit.
No, I actually don't want to. I want you to tell me what you think of Payday 2 storytelling.
Pretty bad until the last year.
Right. Okay.
Well, not bad, but like, I've got to try and get this back up now. This chair is so broken. I'm literally getting it replaced this weekend. It's just terrible.
Just for a bit.
It's so sank. It literally gives me back pain at this point when I get out of it, or even when I'm sat in it. It's rough. No, so like, it feels like every heist that they added kind of had some kind of story progression, but it was a very slow thing because Heist didn't release that often. And then you got this like year from like 2017 to 2018 where it was like, here's a real narrative, here's everything focused, building up to different things. We're kind of teasing you into this big story, ended with the White House, and it felt like it ended on quite a good high. And I liked that idea to it. But I don't... It's tough. Because the problem is, if you're thinking about story content, if you want story to hit the ground running this time, you've got to have a good story contained within what Payday 3 has. I don't want Payday 3's launch to be the start of a story, and then everything builds on with DLC. I want it to be something contained in there, and then they build things and add things on afterwards. Because you want, as we've said, based on how many heists Payday 3 is going to have, you want it to feel like a full game at launch if they're going to charge $70 for it.
It won't be a full story at launch. It won't be.
That's the problem.
I would put money on it because we know of the 18-month content period that's been agreed. So it might be built to complete a story within those 18 months. That would be my guess.
I see. I would have liked more for there to have been quite a focused story within launch, and then like kind of spread out from New York as DLC comes out. You know, I want them to go globe-trotting.
Hopefully there will be. But Hoxton Breakout wouldn't have been this incredible revelation if it wasn't a later edition.
True,
It
but
was
really, was there anything
was
story
powerful.
related in Payday 2 at launch? Was there much
Yeah.
of an expert?
Yeah.
Properly,
No,
though.
no, no. That was the It was all released alongside the web series, so there was something brewing.
There was something brewing, but it didn't feel like a much of a story. But then again, back then, Payday wasn't known for having an interesting story, and I'd argue even now it's not that well known for that. But
no, it's never
got
a very convoluted story.
It's got a much more kind of defined narrative in its like later years, pre-revival era, that people were kind of at least a little bit more invested in, because it was like, what's happening with Bane, what's going on at like the White House and stuff like that, what's the dentist up to? Like, there were more interesting questions being asked. Like, when Payday 2 came out in 2013, I first played it, I was like, does this guy gives us jobs, this guy gives us jobs, cool. And I watched the web series, and as we've discussed, the web series, for all its intents and purposes, it's a mess. It's such a mess.
Oh yeah.
There's some great elements
This
in it,
guy's
but
really good at kung fu, and he gives us jobs.
They don't mesh
Hector.
well with the game in any way, shape, or form. And there's this weird, like, in the web series, like, Overkill's like the big bad or something. Like, it was like just the biggest ego stroke, where they were like, you know, who's listening? Bane, CrimeNet, Overkill. And it was like,
oh yeah,
what is that? And they very quickly abandoned that, thankfully. It was like they were trying to do Deadpool before Deadpool existed. Like, it was so weird. I didn't get that. So, like, I don't feel like there's really anything to talk about. Even though there was the web series, I wouldn't sit here and say to you, there's good stuff from the, like, the story when it came out. But now that there's been a bit more story definition in the later years of Payday 2, I'd expect it to be more in Payday 3. Especially because, from a narrative perspective, we need a reason as to why the gang have come back. Like, for people who are coming back in from Payday 2, you need to have that connection. Because with Payday 1, people played it, but it wasn't super popular. So people getting into Payday 2 didn't really want to feel like they were catching up on stuff. It was like, oh, here's an arcadey game I'm going to play that's like Left 4 Dead 2 in the sense there's a lot of, by this point now, everything that was in Payday the Heist is in Payday 2. Everything that was in Left 4 Dead, correct me if I'm wrong, is in Left 4 Dead 2. But now you're going into a new game, you've got to refer to what came before rather than just put everything into it. So I want there to be something new and fresh that actually follows on well, that doesn't rely on post-launch content. I want post-launch content to add to the story and add extra pictures and extra layers and extra branches, but I don't want it to be, you just spent $70 on a game, here's a bit of the story, to be continued when more DLC comes out, wait! I don't want that. I don't want that. That's me personally. And I'm surprised I had that much of an answer for that question, to be honest.
Well, no, that's good. That's good. That's kind of what I thought you would say. Basically, it's Wordsmith saved the story. Wordsmith's gone. But Wordsmith saved the story in the most like insane Lovecraftian way. It wasn't the easiest. I don't think it'll ever be the easiest to come back from. And actually, if we look at the very first revival era, as you call it, DLC, there was some whisperings of a continuation of the story, actually.
Yeah.
And then they went sideways from there and never really came back to it, which I was a bit disappointed in because it makes the revival era stories these sort of disembodied things that happen
that don't make any sense because
we're not sure when they're happening.
Time spanning characters. I've honestly, every time we get more information, I just feel bad for you. So they're like, how the hell are you going to chronicle this stuff? Because it's just.
Well, I'm looking forward to a blank slate.
Yeah, I do not blame you
to an extent.
I do not blame you.
I think, but what I would say is, I think Payday 3's storytelling will be very similar to what we've seen in the revival era, especially the past two DLC sets. So Texas Heat and
City of Gold. Come on, mate.
City of Gold. Yeah.
Professional YouTuber, by the way.
You lose those things, you know?
Well, if you say so.
Because I think the sort of lead story guy is a fan of more grounded, consolidated stories that are more focused on criminal enterprises and things like that, which is what Payday 2 started as.
Yeah.
I think it will be like that. I think the storytelling will remain quite hands-off, but we have a live action series in production, so as far as we know. So how that also is integrated into it will be very interesting.
Yeah.
If it's
do you think it will be, though? Because my assumption is that it won't be. I honestly don't see it being connected to Payday 3.
Not immediately on launch or anything, but God, what if it was a retelling of Payday 2? That'd be a trip, wouldn't it?
That would be a trip, and there'd be a chance to go back and clarify things and make it clear.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, one of the best things about Payday 2 was the live-action trailers. Whenever there was a live-action trailer, that got me more excited than, honestly, what was being added into the game. That stuff was so good. And as Damien said, like they upped the budget as they went along because they knew how much people loved them.
Jimmy and the Boiling Point, like that era and the Hardcore Henry update teaser was like peak cinema.
Yeah, 8 minutes of just peak.
So much.
Yeah.
But it was still bootleg because we were still missing characters. We still had someone pretending to be Wolf, and so you know, we hope all that's fixed. And you assume with a real professional development team casting people for those roles, it won't be like that, and it will be a more consistent story. I think you might be right. I don't necessarily think Payday 3 will automatically tie into it, especially with like the production cycle. We assume it's years away before we get anything like that.
TV shows take long to make these days, don't they? You know?
They do, yeah. And take your time with it. We want it to be really good. But I don't think we'll have a complete story. But I think we'll have a story that we're keen to follow on with. Like I don't think we'll be like, oh, this is I hope we won't be like, this is unfinished. It'll be like, oh, this section of the story is finished, but we have a plot line that's going down here, and it might culminate in something even more exciting. Because otherwise, what are those 18 months of content? Oh, and now the Payday gang is off to somewhere else. You could do that, but I'm not sure people will be as invested that way.
Yeah, I don't know. The problem with a video game adaptation is that you have to. I mean, I'm preaching to the choir here, but you have to make sure that it appeals to new audiences as well as current players. So the problem with trying to balance it with what's happening in Payday 3 is that you'll lose a lot of interest because people either won't want to play the game, they're not into video games, and they want a new way to access the story. So as soon as you try and split it between two mediums, you're going to lose a lot of people. If it's popular with the people who play the game, that won't matter. But, like, you look at The Last of Us, if that had been a story that explained where Abby came from in Last of Us 2, or, like, filled in gaps you didn't see in Part 2, I guarantee you no one would have cared. So you'd get a few people who'd watch it. But the fact that it literally went, here's the first game story, we're completely adapting it so that people from the games will watch it because they'll want to see it recreated. People who haven't played the games will want to watch it because they've heard it's a good story. It's perfect. So genuinely, you joke, but like them adapting Payday 2 story and making it more accessible is not outside the realm of possibility to me. And then like a future season of Payday 3.
I'd be amazed if they did. I imagine they would focus around Payday 3, and that was my point. Not that they're like parallel stories, that whatever the TV series is, if that's what it ends up being, focuses more on Payday. Yeah, it's more than likely, isn't it? That falls on Payday 3's story. I just think Payday 2's story is. I mean, hell, they could watch my video and be like, "How are we gonna do this?" Yeah,
exactly. I bet you that'll be like there'll be a marketing meeting where they'll go, "Let's watch this complete explanation of Payday 2 story," and then go, Can we take back the contract? Let's not touch it. Let's not touch it.
Yes. So in terms of storytelling, I expect it'll be very similar. Payday has never lended itself towards cutscenes, but the live action stuff is kind of what fills in the gaps and works really well. I'd be happy to see that, personally.
Yeah.
And then it keeps me in a job, because if they just told the story really straightforward, what am I meant to do?
Trust me, they could literally hold your hand through the story and you make videos on it, people would still watch it. You know, like people will still watch it. I wouldn't worry about that. I genuinely wouldn't. All right, let's do some quick fire questions. We've been live for 2 hours. Can you believe that? I honestly was like, we'll probably be like an hour, and then we'll probably run out of things to say. No, you guys have, and there's so many questions I know we just haven't answered as well. Probably just because we don't get stick to the point. You know, there's one thing that really annoys me, and it really grinds my gears. I'm like, I know I'm not really like a negative person. I don't really like to go on about things, but like if I talk about one thing that really, really grinds my gears and gets me really annoyed, and again, like I'm saying, I'm not trying not to annoy people, but it's when people never get to the point. That is a stolen joke. That is a stolen joke. So I apologize if you know where that joke's from. I'm sorry. I have just stolen that, but it is really funny and it works here. So let's do some quick fires. Let's see if we can limit our answers for everything. First question: Nerd Streams. Do you think Payday 3 is going to be a flop?
Hope not.
Yeah, exactly. Let's not even entertain that. I shouldn't have read the comment now, really, but yeah, I don't think so. Even though they're playing, even though they're playing their cards close to their chest, and it is a little bit concerning, as we discussed earlier. Which, by the way, people asking about Summer Games Fest, that kind of thing, we touched on all that earlier. So feel free to watch this back. It will be available to watch. I might trim out the start of it with like the tech issues and stuff, but all the chats on the screen, you'll be able to watch it back. Don't worry. I think we're both a little bit concerned by how little has been said up until now, but like we can still kind of trust in the vision, as they say. Like, they still feel like it's going to end up hopefully in a good place.
I just have faith that the game's been in development for such a long time, and it's been such a concerted effort, and people really care about this game and want to see it succeed. And it's a big, fleshed out team this time. 25 people made Payday 2, right?
Yeah.
We're talking.
But to be fair, that's 25 people made launch Payday 2, which is more
yeah.
realistic in fairness, looking at what that game.
But we're talking about launch Payday 3, so
that's got to be bigger though. We know that. Payday 2 wasn't pushed as AAA. This is almost definitely being done as so. So you need more people behind that.
Yeah.
But it's what I've said before. Like I've said, there's some things I just haven't said in videos because it feels weird to have them on the record. But things like with the heists in Payday 2, they don't specifically share quite how many people are working on Payday 2 or Payday 3 or anything in any particular time. We've looked at like Starbreeze employment counts and stuff from their company meetings and make judgments. But I guarantee you the reason that there aren't many heists coming out of Payday 2, like if I would be surprised if double digits of people were making heists to Payday 2 now. This is all speculation, and I want to clarify that because I know nothing about the staff numbers for Payday 2 specifically. But genuinely, I would be surprised if 10 or more people were making stuff for Payday 2 still. I feel like everyone's focused on Payday 3, and that's why, like, one of my biggest theories with the music packs, it's probably not even a big theory, I feel like most people just know it without saying it, is that they only release the music packs to give them more time with the heists. Like, so many times the heists were like, we're releasing on this day, and it's like, actually, it's coming out next week. But then if they go, hang on, actually, instead of 3 DLCs, let's do 4 and make one of the months just a bit of music that's already done, that gives us a whole extra month to play with. Like, they are all putting their focus into Payday 3, and that plays into what I'm saying there with, like, you need the extra team to back up a bigger launch, and if that means Payday 2 high DLCs take longer to come out because Payday 3 is going to be better, do it. Absolutely do it. That is much smarter. It's a much more logical business move, I feel like.
I mean, we've had an update for a month, which is quite a while when we know there's certain bugs and things in the game.
You get a game update, yeah, with Chinatown.
That need to be fixed.
Chinatown is basically, let's flick a switch, release a soundtrack, job done, see you next month. So
right now, if anyone has the DLC, the Akron does like 300 odd damage on your AI. So if you just want to get carried through the game by AI, I'm hoping by saying this they might fix it.
I wish you hadn't. Now I'm going to use it. Let's go. Give everyone the Akron. Woo! Baby, let's go. I'm going to do that now. Elian, can you DM me on Discord and remind me to do that next stream? Thanks very much. I just get Elian to DM me things so I don't forget stuff because my memory's terrible. All right, that was not a quick fire answer.
Never is. But we've not had the Lost Tapes updates in ages either, which is weird.
Oh,
but I
yeah.
Shit.
I predicted that every month, and that was immediately wrong. Okay, fair enough. So, what else have we got? Could we expect to see big crossovers? Yes. I put money on it. Payday 2 is so big on their crossovers that Payday 3 not doing it would feel like a waste. John Wick alone. I mean, I was worried after seeing John Wick 4, if you've seen the film you know why, that there wasn't really going to be much for John Wick going forward. But now they've said John Wick 5 is happening. Fair game. Fair game.
It's I do think the crossovers were a bit of a bow project. I could be wrong in that. It's just the impression I always got. But I do think it's always been a key strategy. So I would be surprised if they went away from it completely.
Yeah, agreed. What else have we got? Completely forgot Lost Tapes were a thing. There you go. Let's see what else we got. If you see anything, beat me to it. Go for it.
I just someone suggesting like create a heister as a system. I don't think we'll see that. It's a cool idea, but I don't think we'll see that because Payday's so contingent on its cool
I
characters.
don't want that. I don't want that.
And you dilute it.
If they'd said that they weren't doing they weren't bringing back the OG4 as playable characters or something like that, fine. Like if they wanted to go down a road where you make your own character and you interact with all the other characters in universe, they're your AI, they give you your missions. That could be interesting. I don't feel like it would go down super well. I'd give it a shot. I'd be interested in what they did there, but it's too much of a gamble for Payday, and I don't think that that's something you really want. What else have we got? A mission where you disguise yourself as cops to enter an FBI building and then become loud. Ooh, I like that.
What collab would we expect?
John Wick. That's it.
Yeah, probably.
10 John Wick DLCs. John Wick
game. Almir mentioned on stream the other day, and it blew my mind that they were trying to do a deal with Slipknot for their masks for Payday 2 way back in the day. And it fell through, which surprises me. But that was a cool one. More heisting type things. Heisting media. We just need more heisting.
GTA heist. Trevor
I mean,
Phillips
films.
playable heister.
Films mostly,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that's where it got its start, and I was always so sad that we didn't get the Baby Driver pack.
I was
love that
about
film.
to say Baby Driver, yeah.
Yeah,
Among Us, no.
that would be my focus.
What do you think the update mode will be? 3 to 4 months for a heist is absurd right now. Again, well, it goes back to what I said. I feel like because there's only, like, in my opinion, single-digit people working on Payday 2. That's why you're not getting constant updates. If they wanted to release things more often, they put more people behind it, but they're putting those people into Payday 3, so it's a better game. That's how I see it. So,
have we ever got heists more frequently than that? Ever?
let's have a look. Let's have a look.
It's funny to think because a lot of the DLC we were getting DLCs every month, but it would be a DLC pack. It would be a weapon pack, and then
List
you'd
of
get
Payday
a heist.
heists in release order. Here we go. Okay, so
We got characters.
we got everything. We got obviously the base heists on August 13th. Diamond Store was then 13th of September, a month later. Safe House Nightmare was the next one, which was a month and a half later, followed by the Transport Heists and Transport Train Heist 2 weeks after that. Go Bank was a month later. Election Day was 3 months later. Shadow Raid 2 months. Big Bank 1 month. Hotline Miami then 3 months. Art Gallery and Hoxton Breakout the month after. White Christmas 2 months. And the Diamond came out at the same time.
Yeah, Christmas.
Christmas.
Okay, no, we did see more frequent
So it was
than that. Then,
one,
I suppose.
2, sometimes 3 months, but yeah, a bit more
in the
consistent.
first year, yeah, things did come faster. It will be like that then. Again, I imagine.
Yeah. I had to Google that. You know, we're both letting down expectations. It's disgraceful. Would you expect a third-person camera mode in Payday 3? It's such a first-person shooter kind of game that I don't feel like it. It'd be interesting as some kind of like mutator, like how occasionally the odd Call of Duty game felt like the odd third-person playlist you play for a bit of a goof, but it was never intended to be a big thing. That could be fun. I mean, I have the third-person camera mod in Payday 2, and I turn it on once every blue moon for a bit of a laugh. It's not easy to aim with it, but that's probably because it's not official game content. It's not designed to function beautifully. But
it's a cool mod.
It's a
a
cool
really
mod,
cool
yeah.
mod. It's a Hobbit mod if I remember, and it's also amazing for screenshots. Because when you go third person and then you go screenshot mode, you have to be in the third person camera to see your character, otherwise you're just floating arms.
Yeah,
so
true.
that's all I've ever used it for. But no, I don't think we'll get that either.
Who do you not want to see return? Scarface, just because it'd be really funny. No. Just because like we never got Scarface back. I don't know. Is there anyone you wouldn't want to see? Oh yeah, H3. All right, moving on.
That's the obvious one. They won't. They won't come back.
Yeah.
I don't think any of the core heisters are that unpopular though, are they?
No. Joy, I know, is like a bit. Joy and Sydney for like their high pitched voices, sometimes a bit screechy. They get criticism for, but Joy definitely more than Sydney.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I guess Rust is the most impractical one. The guy will be ancient.
Yeah.
I think he tracks Ron Perlman's age because I think they made Rust the same age as Ron Perlman. So
because you would, wouldn't you?
old.
I mean, like I remember just like at the time Rust came out, and whenever I'd like go in like voice chat with American people playing Payday, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, my favorite character's Rust because he's American. Yeah, I love Ron Perlman." And I'm just like, is everyone that predictable? I'm guessing they weren't, but it's just like I got like a specific amount of people who said that in close proximity, and I was like, is every American just like playing as Rust because it's Ron Perlman? I don't know, but it worked. Clearly, everyone was playing as him. What else we got? What do you think about free DLC, but whenever a Crime Fest comes out, a Battle Pass comes with it, and the more money you get, the better the reward? So you'd earn everything in the Battle Pass just from playing the game? I mean, sounds nice in theory,
strange.
but I mean, every Battle Pass has some way to skip tiers, whether it's V-Bucks in Fortnite or whatever it may be.
I wonder if that was inspired by the Hype Train stuff back in the day. Do you remember the Hype Fuel event?
See, so I didn't play Payday 2 on
buy...
PC at the time, so yeah, you need to contextualize this a bit for me.
Yeah, you could buy the Overkill pack and the Completely Overkill pack, obviously notorious for no longer being purchasable and
bring it back,
having masks and things that you can't access. And they were £20 and $20 and $5. I can't remember if it was pounds or dollars. And by buying those, you added fuel to the Hype Train, which unlocked you more rewards for the Crime Fest or whatever it was that was coming. Which is funny because I'm pretty sure they plan to make everything in that list anyway.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
That is how they did it.
Superficial, yeah.
it's a bit like having stretch goals in a Kickstarter. I don't think they'd do that. I don't think it was that successful.
Yeah, fair. Is there a new Payday 3 gameplay video? I wish. Depending on who you ask out of the two people in this call, one of them will say gameplay this month. One of them will say you're going to be in for a wait, buddy. But yeah, I should actually just mention it. Feel free to add it to your watch list. I get to do this because this is my channel. If you haven't seen my video from yesterday, please help it get up because it's currently like 8 of 10 on my recent videos. It's painful and I hate it. Please do watch my new video. I discussed about my thoughts on gameplay.
My custom heist video got destroyed. It's got like 20k less than everything else that's been released in the past however many months. Something happened when I
mods were
launched
big
it.
and they clearly weren't. So well done. Well
Yeah,
done, buddy.
maybe not. Alienated the console. Fellows.
You did that years ago. You did it years ago. Okay.
Nightmare.
What do you guys think Overkill will do for 10th anniversary for Payday 2? Well, my opinion, as I've said, is the final update for Payday 2 will be released on the 10th anniversary. Possibly something Payday 3 themed to coincide, but I want to see Payday 2 end on its 10th birthday for poetic reasons.
Final lost tape. just me waiting for
You're
that.
just, yeah, I was about to say, what do you want? Just the last lost tape. That's it. That's all you want. That's it. There you go. I hope that answers your question. All right.
Seasonal events, absolutely.
Yes.
100%. Yeah, they'll come.
I want to see a Star Wars event where they add Darth Maul as a playable heister. Yeah.
Well, and release date, what would be your guess?
Didn't bite on that at all, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't know what the hell you're all about.
Don't worry about it. Release date. My eyes are still on September. I want a
date. I want a date. I want September just so that, like, we can look back at this and be like, wow, that was stupid.
Okay, alright. Let me look at the dates in September.
What is the closest win as well?
I don't know. A cookie.
The games come out on weekends.
This is what I'm wondering. The most common days are like Tuesdays and Fridays, right? So I'm like,
yeah.
I'm gonna go with Friday 15th of September.
All right, I'll say Friday the 18th of August. There you go. That's all. Those are our guesses.
Hell, if it comes out then and there's like if they do what some games do and do 3 days early access, I would have early access on my birthday.
Oh.
My birthday's the 15th.
Glorious.
So yeah, I like your plan. Let's have some early access. Let's do it. But
remember, that's a complete guess. We actually have no idea.
Yeah, it's a complete guess. We literally don't know. Overkill, please respond to our emails. There aren't emails, but respond to them anyway. All right, let's do new rule. 5 more questions and then we wrap. Because I want you to have some night to yourself, and I also have a full episode of a Doctor Who podcast to edit that I've not done.
I'm just getting darker and darker. I can see that. So
yeah, the dark Noli. It worked because of the K, but didn't really line up very well. All right, 5 questions. I'll give you all the guests. So I'll let you pick 3 and I'll pick 2. So you start off. What's your first pick?
Okay. We talked about reimagined Heist.
Oh, just slide in while you're looking because this isn't a question we can answer about opinions. Lou, Payday 3 has been in development since October 2019. So it's been in development for about 3.5 years, just over. So there you go.
But the game was initially in development from 2016.
Yeah, it's been in the works since 2016, but actually been built game-wise since October 2019. All right, you spotted something?
Yeah, it's just the bottom one because it's the easiest one for me to read. Minor characters coming back. So not your core heists or anything, just additionals who might, I guess they could include contractors and things. I would not be surprised to see Vlad back.
Vlad's good. He said, if you guys are out, I'm out too. They're not out, so therefore he's not. Job done.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I reckon we'll see Bile and Twitch maybe. We won't get Ilya.
I like Bokeem Woodbine as an actor. I'd like to see him get more to do as the elephant.
Yeah.
I'd really like him get given more to do.
The reformed Democrat, by all accounts.
Whenever I've seen him, mate, Go on.
He's an actual mythological king within the lore, and so's Vlad, to be fair.
Oh well.
But I'm not sure how we're gonna.
I don't know about that. But no, I've seen films like Overlord and stuff with him in, and Queen and Slim, and every time he's in a little cameo, I'm like, oh, Bokeem, I like Bokeem. And Spider-Man, come on, he's good. Is Ron Perlman's not involved in Payday 3? Come on, no, he's not going to be involved. All right, so that's the first big question. Second one.
Go on, your turn.
free roam or menu for heists? Menu for heists.
Yeah, I like that one too.
Free roam is too big for Payday 3. You get that for GTA 6, and I'd very much like to see something like that, where GTA 6 is GTA 5 on like scale to a 5 million%. But we're talking about Payday here, which is not an open world game. Typically, it's a heisting game. So I expect still to be a menu for heists. I would like to see maybe some kind of hub world, but the problem with that is then it just feels like you're pushing it too far. Some hub worlds, you add them and then it feel pointless. I remember when Call of Duty tried to do that with COD World War 2. They were like, we're adding a hub world, and it was fine, but it just feels a bit unnecessary maybe. I don't know. Things like the Tower and Destiny are quite cool, but they're kind of one of a kind. It's hard to replicate that kind of vibe in a game. So I'd be quite happy with just a menu for heists again, and maybe a safe house. And that would do
I would be surprised if we got like a safe house of some sort. I don't so much think that like open world is too big necessarily. I think they could try and tackle it. I just think it would be a worse game as a result. Payday thrives on set pieces, and those are really hard to craft inside an open world. So that's why it'll be menu based, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. All right, you're up.
How many weapons on launch? We actually calculated how many. I don't know. I worked out how many heists there were, or going to be. There's 83 heists when Payday finishes, assuming that crude oil is the last one for Payday 2. Weapons-wise, there's a ton in the game right now, and a lot of them feel identical. I think Payday 3 will have a much smaller roster of weapons, but they will all be a lot more unique, as we've seen from the recent DLCs, with weird underbarrel flamethrowers and strange attachments and things. I would guess maybe 20 primaries, 20 secondaries, but each feels like a totally unique gun and can be modified in many different ways, things like that. I think that would be the focus on launch because it's a live service, and there'll be lots of weapons added over time.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of guns, and I like how many there are, but it is a bit excessive almost because they do feel so much like clones. You pick up like the old Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, and there's all those guns, and like they all feel different, and you pick something that's your vibe. Whereas in Payday 2, it's like I like the AK. I also like this gun. Oh, they have the same stats. Never mind. Like there's not much competition in there. The new things they add feel fresh, but that's not a trait that applies to pre-revival era guns to much of an extent. So yeah, I think less weapons more will get added over time, obviously, but I think starting with a smaller pool would be a really good idea. And they'll obviously start with a smaller pool. Look at many guns around Payday 2. It won't be hard to start with less guns. Yeah, I'll go with that. All right, penultimate question. What are we gonna? Let's pick something good. This is the last one I'm picking out. So. Let's do a bit of scrolling back up.
People are super into the classics. I've noticed that.
Well, that's fair. You know, people like the nostalgia.
Yeah.
You know,
I guess
most people have seen No Way Home, unlike you. Sorry, I'm just a bit of a Marvel fan. I think you know that. You can't quite see it on my camera here, but if we transition, you like I need to remind everyone of the giant Captain America shield. Anyway, I want to pick something out. It's like a big question. Big question.
Like you don't want to tackle the femboy one.
The what?
No?
What?
Okay.
Where? Did I miss that? Where's that?
I don't think it's maybe not the best.
Oh! I see it. I didn't even notice that. Hey, look, if you want to end with that, you go for it. I'm just trying to see. I'm scrolling back up because I feel like I know there were some questions you missed earlier that were like biggies. If you found one that you want, by the way, feel free to just like.
No, I'm watching you.
Oh, you're what? Okay, all right. Come on. We're gonna be here for a while.
How far back up were these things?
Really far back up. I know there were some good questions that I missed, but I'm just like looking through and I'm like, damn, all these questions suck. I'm joking, they didn't all suck. Ooh. To be fair,
there's been some discussion.
The thing
about
is, that's the thing. Like, I feel like a lot of the points we've now said have kind of gone back over and answered them. So looking at these, like these were good questions. I'm like, oh wait, no, you mentioned this because like some of them are tied to difficulty, and you kind of just brought that up, and it was like, you know. Ooh, I like this one from when there's AW ill. I asked this earlier. Any aesthetic of heists, i.e., banks, casinos, museums, political, etc. It's like what kind of vibe you want, or kind of aesthetics to heists, that kind of thing.
We know. Yeah, we kind of have a bit of direction on that, don't we? We were told that it was going to be more of a modern world with crypto heists and things like that. I hope it's more grounded and classic, because there's no cool films about a classic crypto heist, is there?
No.
And Payday does its best. It's absolutely at its best when there's some cool inspiration material that they can bring to life.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like I don't want it to be some like wild thing where like the aesthetic is just like, oh, absolutely crazy, like color schemes and doing wild stuff. I mean, still, like, I don't know if you can point. It's kind of like, I think I joked about this last Payday stream I did, but I don't know if you saw that tweet where it was like, at what point did the Fast and Furious movie abandon all reality? You know, at what point did those films go, right, we're just kind of not being real anymore? But like, if we had that for Payday 2, it would be you're stealing nukes in Meltdown. Like, I feel like at that point, it was like, right, Payday 2 is not going to be realistic much going forward, ladies and gents. We're just kind of doing our own thing. And I don't want us to get to that point again. So even though aesthetic is more of a visual thing, I feel like in terms of just an overall tone, I don't want us to get to that point again. I don't want us to get to a point where it feels unrealistic. I want it to feel more grounded. Like, just playing a bit of Payday the Heist recently, it feels so much more back to basics and rooted that I want it to feel like that in modern day. I know we're going to have some of the crypto stuff, and I'm a bit worried about how heavily they go into that. I don't want there to be loads of, like, self-aware NFT jokes, because that concerns me. I don't want everyone being like, oh, we're going to steal all these Bored Apes. I don't care. Just don't do that. Please do not do that. Oh, I keep moving my mouse of your camera, and it's bringing up the options. I should hang up on you.
Mute me. Yeah, get me out of here.
Yeah, I'm considering it. But like, yeah, I don't want it to feel too outside of fantasy, so I want it to look like it would in real life. I want the graphics to look as decent as they can do for a Payday game, but feel quite simple. You know, like Rainbow Six Siege, there was a map in a bank, and you just walked into a bank, and it was nice, nice basic, big open bank. Color scheme was quite average. It was just how it would look in real life. I don't want it to look too fantastical, which sounds like a really boring way to say it, but I don't want, like, I don't want it to feel too fantastical, basically. That was a really long-winded answer of saying that. Yeah, I was trying to think of a more nuanced way to describe it, and I couldn't think of something, so I'm giving up.
I think the aesthetic we've actually been shown is pretty spot on, right? The golden shark look, which is this ancient, but old, ornate-looking bank, surrounded by sort of hyper-modern technology, massive screens on billboards, huge skyscrapers around it. I imagine when you step inside, it's a sort of bustling, hyper-modern bank on the inside, very technically advanced bank, but it's still got that really classic style to it, which is sort of that big bank style that we talked about, saying had something special about it. So that would be my personal opinion on it.
Oh, apparently Almira said the Payday gang doesn't see the worth in NFTs and will leave them to the paycheck gang. Same with crypto. Well, I don't know about crypto, because Eric, one of you, literally stated that as one of the big 4 things they were going to play into in Payday 3. So, cryptocurrency is definitely going to be playing a part, but I'm glad to hear that NFTs are not happening. Good, because it just feels like a stupid thing to even touch.
That was on the stream. I remember seeing him.
Oh really? Oh.
Yeah.
Most of the time I'm working when he does those streams, so I don't get to like listen to much of it. So it was just happened by chance. I happened to watch that one on Thursday where he mentioned about Payday 3, and I was like, that's a good intro for my video. Just all right, it's your turn, and it's the final question. The last question.
I saw a really good one earlier about progression in the game. What's progression going to be like?
Ooh.
And what would I like it to be like? So progression in Payday 2 is very centered around levels, I think, because levels are what get you skills, what makes you feel powerful, and helps you to use your weapons to the best of your ability. I would like the power fantasy to be more focused around money, which is where Payday got its start. I mean, in Payday the Heist, you literally level up with money. So that would be the focus of progression for me, because then heists are more about what can I really get out of this heist?
Yeah.
Not, can I get from start to finish on this heist? What will this heist get for me? Which is more the mindset I think they should go for. So that would be my first process. I do think there will be infamy levels. I wonder if they're going to lean more into that live service style that we've seen with games like Call of Duty, where it's like you get a new infamy unlock every however often, just to keep people playing.
Prestige tokens and stuff. Yeah, that stuff was really good. I love that.
yeah, it's more of a drip feedy way to do progression, I suppose, but it's worked in the past.
And if you like the game, then you're willing to commit to it, like with Cold War, like that. And I've mentioned about 5 times in the stream. That's like in the last 10 years, it's probably the Call of Duty I've liked and played the most in terms of like when it was the current COD. I just loved it, and I was like actually keen to do the prestiges, and like it was a cool little thing for me. Like if you're investing in the game, you'll put that time in, if you are there.
Yeah, and Alien's right. Bin the offshore, it does very little.
Yeah,
I mean,
it feels like retroactively they've tried to add justification in for it. Because like, we know you don't need it, but even then it's not really worked super well.
Well, hyperinflation hit Payday around about the time when they added crime sprees. So
yeah.
everyone's cash.
The amount of times where people saying, how do you have 6 million continental coins? I'm like, look, I did a couple of crime sprees, and then, you know, you can't spend that many coins, so... You know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just the way that the game went, but I would hope that it would retain its value, and you'd be more excited about making it out with money. Because I don't know about you, but those objectives are just so droll to me at this point. I'm just not that interested.
100%.
Like, oh yay, added loot, extra there. Who cares?
Woo! Let's go. Let's go.
So yeah, there needs to be more of that, and there was at launch in Payday 2, and I just want them to rekindle that again.
Yeah, I agree. There you go. Yeah, I saw there was spam earlier, people mentioning, by the way, about LGBT rep in the game. As I put in the chat, it's a given, doesn't need asking. It'd be nice to have some in there. I don't know.
Yeah, Payday 2 doesn't currently have any that we're
It doesn't. I think
specifically aware of, but
yeah, not that I'm aware of.
But
like...
I don't think characters. There aren't any heisters other than Chains, actually, who have sort of known relationships. I just don't think it factors into their characters at all.
No, I think, like, if they do it a bit like Overwatch, where they had a bit into like stories, if they do more information about the characters, it could tell you a bit more about them if you're interested. Like, it's not going to be something. I don't imagine them ever going, here's a video for Pride Month for every LGBT character in Payday. They're never going to do that. I mean, like they're not exactly. They're supportive. I would say that it's not like anyone at Payday is anti-LGBT or something like that, but it doesn't, like you said, it's not a game where they're going to parade it too much. I don't feel like, 'cause it's not something that needs to be said as much, I think, for it. They can say that they back representation. I don't expect much more, but I think it'd be nice if if they wanted to add that representation in, you could have a bit more, like, in-depth bios about your characters. You could mention the odd thing in a passing comment in there, you know? Sydney passes between relationships between boys or girls. Make it something that's like a little bit of a throwaway comment, so something's there and it's nice, but you don't need to make a big fanfare about it.
That adds personality to the character.
Exactly.
I did actually mention it in a tweet recently that we know so little about the families of any heisters. You know, Dallas and Houston are brothers. Jiro lost his family.
You don't know much. Unless it's relevant to the story, you don't know anything about them, really.
But I think I said that in a bit of a, oh, that's strange complaining tone. All the comments were like, we don't need to. These guys are assholes, and we love them as assholes, and that's how they should be fleshed out.
Yeah.
We don't need to know all about their ins and outs and their family. I just want to know why Wolf is so goddamn angry.
Exactly. Like extra information would be cool, but like not even specifically for LGBT stuff. We don't need a big fanfare about anything about the characters. That like part of the interest is just the air of mystery they have to them. We know a bit about them, but the most we know about them is from playing as them and seeing how they behave in a heist. So a bit more backstory in like kind of a codex style thing, I think will be brilliant. Because things like codexes in games like Mass Effect, which, you know, I may have played once or twice, like, you know, it's not something you need to, I've not even, like, if you ask me, I've barely read the codex of anything in any game, you know? But it's available there for people who want to read more, who want to find out more about stuff. And then it's kind of like, you can, if you want to know more about characters, you can. And if you prefer the air of mystery, you can do that as well. And I think that's a nice idea for it. Bit more detail, but don't shove it in people's faces. A game like that doesn't need to, personally.
Yeah.
There you go. So that's how we feel. There you go.
I think we've answered virtually every question.
I feel like we have, yeah. And to clarify, for Weapon X, said are we actually getting the release date? We were talking about it, and we have set predictions. So just to remind everyone, Noli's prediction for Payday 3's release date, the official release date, is Friday the 18th of August, whilst my prediction is Friday the 15th of September. I honestly kind of regret that. I kind of want to shoot for the 29th of September now, and you're still messing around with that light.
No, that was just I switched tabs on my computer.
Oh, really? Oh, wow, it is dark in that room.
It's
That's
really
mad.
dark in
That's
here.
mad. Yeah, no, fair enough. Fair enough. But there you go. Like the hint, the lines give you Clover likes The Walking Dead. Oh, yeah, exactly. Clover being like, oh, The Walking Dead, or Sydney thinking that Jared Leto would pull off the Joker. Like, some of those references really are dated now.
They've not aged the best.
It would have been better if it was Morbius, to be honest. You know, that would have been great. Jared Leto as Morbius? Yay or nay? I think he'll pull it off, I must say. But there you go. There you go. Yeah, so Joe's saying that I agree it doesn't need to be part of the LGBT community. Backstories would be cool. That's the thing to say as well, by the way. I'm not to presume your sexuality, Noli, but as a straight guy, I don't really want to like make too much of a comment on behalf of people who want to hear more. If you guys feel like there should be more, then your opinions are valid for that. Like, everyone will have different perspectives on this. And I love seeing representation, but I think it's better in some places than others based on the tone of a game and what needs to be said at whatever point, right? You know, like, you wouldn't expect Trevor Phillips to walk into a building, start shooting everyone, going, I like men! Like, there's a time, like, certain things will fit, right? Do you know what I mean? Actually, do you know what? Now that I've said that, I feel like that is definitely something Trevor Phillips would do. I feel like he definitely would do that.
Yeah, I'm picking up a plot line for Wolf now. And, No, I don't.
Does it involve chains and his strap on?
Oh my god.
There's a narrative being formed here, ladies and gentlemen. Get ready. Get ready.
Get me right in that Payday.
But yeah, I feel like for Payday specifically, I just feel like you don't need to know too much about them. If like an option to find out more would be cool, but I'm quite happy not knowing too much personally. You know, I don't know. I believe September is more likely because of the 10th anniversary. They probably want to space out things. Yeah, that's because I was shooting for August originally. When I made that last video saying about release dates, I was like, no, it would make much more sense to just have Payday 2 be celebrated for its final update on its birthday, and then right after that, right, all eyes on Payday 3.
I think the point I made to you was like the later it goes, the more heavy competition it suffers. The big November releases.
What are the big November releases this year? Do we know? Aside from Call of Duty.
Call of Duty is always the one that springs to mind. Is when's Starfield coming
out? September, unless that's got moved.
September.
Again. Let me have a look. Big video game releases, 2023. You've got.
It's already been quite a strong year, actually.
You've got Spider-Man 2, but that I think is going to come out. And the problem with that's a single-player game, so I don't know if you can quite include that in the same kind of thing. But I suppose in terms of what you spend your money on, then yeah. Let's have a look. Where are we up to on this? I'm literally just using IGN here. Summer 2023, fall 2023. Starfield is September 6th. The day before, if that even is coming out, is November 10th.
Don't think so, mate.
Yeah, neither do I. And then beyond that, we've got dates that have games have 2023, but don't have specific dates yet, which include Alan Wake 2, Ark 2, Armored Core 6, whatever that is, Assassin's Creed Mirage, Hades 2.
Armored Core's a big one.
Oh, I haven't heard of that. My bad.
That's the next From Software game.
Oh, okay. All right, fair. Also, Forza Motorsport, Liza P, Spider-Man 2. Oh, Payday 3's in this list. Look at that. Stalker 2, Suicide Squad Killer Justice League, more like Kill the Game Development. Warhammer 40k, Space Marine 2. So there's a load of games that don't have dates yet, which means there could be some competition in the end of the year. So
I think a lot of that would come late. Christmas launches, I think Payday would benefit from coming out just a little earlier because of the model it'll likely have. But that's just me.
Yeah. It just needs to not release during any Sonic Frontiers DLC, because then it's going to have some stiff competition from me, you know? That game was so good. That game was so good. I'm so excited for more DLC for that. But no, yeah, so there's a lot of competition. So yeah, the sooner they release it, the better, I feel like. I don't know, like, the Spider-Man 2 is like the next big game I'm thinking of coming out, and I don't know when that's happening. I know it's fall, so I think probably about September. That was like the rumor that was being floated about. So if that happens and Payday 3 does release in September, that's going to be a good month. It's going to be a good month, you know? And there'll been a couple of games I've really enjoyed this year, you know? Jedi Survivor, Payday 3. Hang on, my brain shut off for a second then. Spider-Man 2. I was building up to a joke to include Forspoken in the list, and I ruined it. So I was literally gonna go. I was gonna go Jedi Survivor, Spider-Man 2, Payday 3, Forspoken. Then like move on swiftly, but I ruined the joke, so I can't do that. Did you ever play? You didn't play Forspoken, did you? You definitely didn't play that. No,
it's meant to be crap, innit?
I personally quite liked it. I get the criticism on that. It's not like Saints Row where I'll replay it and go, nah. I honestly really like that game. But I do get the criticisms. I get some of them, but it It was good fun. It was dumb fun. To me, it was turn your brain off, have a bit of fun with magic. Like, I didn't take it super seriously, so that's probably why I liked it more. Do you think people will get mad if gamers next year? Oh yeah, let me just say as a final amendment for the console heisters, from my expert opinion, do not expect it to go out on PS4 and Xbox One. I would put money on that not happening, because every time you get new consoles released, new generation consoles, as time passes, you get that bigger and bigger disparity between games. And whether it be a game releases with less stuff in, like Black Ops 3 did infamously, where it didn't even have a campaign, or you get games that just look completely different visually, and again with Call of Duty, the further on it went, the worse it got. Or just like, even for, regardless of your opinions on it, Hogwarts Legacy, that came out on next-gen systems, and then later on they were like, right, we've just about perfected a version that runs on the lower consoles, have this. We're getting further and further into the life cycle of the current generation of consoles now. Like, they'll be 3 years old at the end of this year. I honestly, this is going to sound, don't take this the wrong way, I hope they don't release on those platforms, purely because it will get to the point where those platforms become a limitation for what the games can do. And if they spend too much time, if they spend too much time considering what can run on old gen hardware, it will then compromise what they can do on new gen hardware. And I know that sounds selfish, and I'm aware there are a lot of people probably in this chat who don't have new consoles. Unfortunately, that is just the way that gaming works, and you kind of have to roll with it, because you will see games get abandoned. How many years into the cycle are we? 3 years now, coming up this year. So it was like winter 2020 they came out, despite all the like. I think it's been a bit of an easier transition this time, purely because it was so damn hard to get hold of the blooming things for like a year or two. So I don't believe. I think this time it's been a bit nicer, but I don't believe that Payday 3 will come out. Honestly, if it comes out on Xbox One and PS4, great for you lot. I'd be a bit concerned for performance limitations for it, but I just don't see it happening. I would honestly say, be prepared for that time. Wait, Troy, you don't need to put money on it. It got leaked 6 months ago. You did a video on it. No, I didn't. It was leaked that it was coming out on consoles. And like there was multi-platform, but it was said specifically consoles. It did not say which generation. So that's never been confirmed. And like whenever we eventually get the ability to pre-order it, we'll know for sure. But I personally don't think so. I don't know about you, but I don't think it'll be coming out on Switch. I think that's probably.
If only.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen.
I'd have something to use my Switch Pro controller for.
I want to get a Switch. My best friend, she has a Switch and she uses it all the time. I'm just like, I just don't feel like I get much use out of it. There's some games I want to play, but I've got a PS5, an Xbox, and a PC. I can't add another console to the equation. My poor PS5 gets neglected enough as it is.
For all these games you've been having to go at me for not playing, you've just not been playing a single Nintendo game for like at least.
Yeah, but that's down to a platform limitation and not a can't be bothered limitation. Have a go at me for not playing God of War. I've got it on PS5 and not played it. But yeah, the fans on the console would sound like they're taking off from Heathrow Airport. Sums it up. All right, so I did say that was the last question, and I've shoved in one about consoles, but that felt appropriate for this. So have you got any closing thoughts you want to say, Noli, that isn't a brand deal or a mention of a strap-on?
Oh,
I'm never going to let you drop that. I hope you're aware now. That's never going to leave you.
That's all my ideas out the window. No, just a very earnest thank you for having me on. It was really good fun. I feel like I've solidified a lot of my sort of thoughts and opinions about the game. Sometimes that's what happens when you're having a chat about something, and you're like, oh yeah, that is probably likely, and that was really fun. And also thank you to the chat as well. I think there were some really good questions and good points raised. It was like I said, it was good that we were having to scroll back through to find the questions, because the discussion was so good. There was some really good stuff, and I honestly didn't know how long this stream was going to be. I was kind of like, oh, it might be like an hour, maybe an hour and a half, but no, we got a comfortable nearly 3 hours out of this at this point from just chatting about Payday 3. That's brilliant. So thank you all for being here. So just for me to do a quick little bit of promotion. If you haven't already liked the stream, please do. I'd really appreciate it. And if you are new, please do hit that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. I'd say weekly Payday videos. I'm sometimes not the best at that. My only problem with it really is I just need more ideas. I've talked to you about this. Like, we're at a point now where Payday 2 is pretty much on its deathbed, and I just don't have much more I want to... Say it like that.
Deathbed in terms of how much more new content it's going to get. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. All right, it's about to be put in the retirement home for the second time. Fine. But you get the point though. Like, I don't have too many new ideas for it, and I want more. I want to kind of focus more on Payday 3, but that's tough when for 6 months we've not had much new other than a couple of teasers. So we'll have more information soon, and that'll give you more to basically talk about and theorize. But what I really want to do is talk more about console stuff. I really want to do more console theorizing. it's just tough at the minute. Oh, Discord server, yeah, we'll just, I can literally get the link up for that because thanks to people giving me boosts, we have got discord.gg/RedArcherLive, baby. Boom, go and join the Discord server, really appreciate it. But yeah, thank you all for being here, we really appreciate it. We're gonna wrap up. Am I hanging up on you, or do you want to hang around and chat after this is finished? Have you got something to do? Have you got somewhere to be?
I told you I'm...
I know, but you know, you might be
Leave me
sick of
alone.
me now, so I was giving you an out.
Okay, yeah.
He's leaving.
I'll hang on when you finish the stream.
Oh, bless. How sweet is he? How sweet is he? Answer the fanboy question, Archer? No. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, just remember this video will be able to watch back. You can see it in the live section of YouTube channels now. It's so weird how they've organised it. But you will be able to watch this back. I may just shave off the start of the tech issues, like I said. But even when I do that, you should still be able to watch it while it's saving those changes. You won't be able to see the live chat replay, but you'll see it on the stream, so that won't matter anyway. So thank you all for being here. Greatly appreciate it. And we'll see you all soon on both of our channels when there's more news. But honestly, we should do this again once we've got a bit more information. I think it'll be really cool to do like a post-show breakdown or something.
Imagine how long we'd go for if we had something to actually talk about.
I know. But let me just say, ladies and gentlemen, that within a week we'll know if I was right or wrong about Summer Games Fest. In fact, here's how we end the stream. We end the stream with one last poll. Let's just see if opinions have changed. Do you think, yes or no, Payday 3 will appear at Summer Games Fest on Thursday? Yes or no? Let's see what people think. Let's see if our opinions have changed anything. I'm in the no camp. Nolly's in the yes camp. We've got a nice 50-50 split here. What do you lot think? Come on, let's see. Stop doing jokey links to social media pages, for goodness sake. Knock it off. I've just realised, by the way, I think the background's probably about to run out. Oh, no, it loops.
But I thought you put it on loop.
I didn't actually hit the loop button, but it seems to have just looped it. Oh, maybe the button I pressed did automatically loop it. Fair enough. All right, let's see. We got a yes, then a no. No, yes, no, yeah. Oh, I think there's more no's than yeses now.
Yeah, I think the doubters just hang around, you know?
Oh, yeah, sure. You two should play together. Hey, if Nolly wants to be on one of my Payday streams on Twitch, then that'd be good. You could announce it and I could get more viewers. Thanks. Next time, put it in your video, you know? 40,000 people could have known about it. Oh, would have been great, you know? I need that. I'm basically
that video was made ages
mate,
ago,
I'm using you for all your worth. Just go with it, okay? just go with it. But no, seriously, we definitely should do some more stuff. It'd be good. Yeah.
Sure.
Especially now he's on the partner thing, you know? We should, you know what we should do? We should do like live react. What if we get early access to the next heist, you and I play it for the first time together? That would be a banging video.
I never thought of being able to actually do that. Well, I've never had early access to a heist, I suppose.
You have
yeah.
now. If they give it us. All right, there you go. We're agreed. There you go. There's a potential video idea. Get excited. And I'm trademarking it. Boom. It's my video, my channel. There we go. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, most people are saying, yeah, I think most people are saying no, but I hope so. Yeah. I think people are starting to understand my more pessimistic view now. Sorry. I'm such an optimistic person normally, but just the way it's all lined up, I don't see it. Red Archer should be in the new Nolly challenge run. If he wants me in one of his videos, just saying it to you right now, I'm here. You just ask, all right? Just ask, baby.
There's a little something. There's a little something cooking.
Is it the thing I think it is?
Yeah.
Oh, it's been a long time coming. How cooked is it now? It's not cooked.
It's still blue.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for being here. We will see you all soon. I'll just wrap up the stream right about here. So, obviously, I should have said, go check out Nolly's channel. You probably don't need to, because I feel like most people subscribe to me are probably subscribed to him anyway. But do it if you haven't already. Dude's really class and deserves the love. But thank you all for being here, and we will see you all very soon with new content on both of our channels. Nolly, pretty much just on YouTube at this point, for the moment anyway. And if you are new to me, you've got the YouTube, you've also got the Twitch, twitch.tv/RedArcherLive. 2 or 3 streams a week. Don't know when my streams are going to be next week. You'll find out soon. But there will be one for Summer Games Fest. So tune in, Twitch. Thursday night at or just before 8 PM UK time. Feel free to hang out on my stream if you want. You know, if you want to see my reactions, Nolly, you know, you can have a chat.
Oh, I'm considering streaming it myself.
Don't you dare take this away from me.
Sorry.
Don't you do that.
But I'm a believer.
And you're gonna be. You know what? It's gonna be a cycle. It's gonna be like me being disappointed in 2021. All right. It's a vicious cycle. You stream, you're going to jinx it. If he doesn't stream, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get Payday 3 gameplay. If he does, they're going to hold it back.
I'm not taking that blame.
You are taking that blame. I'm giving it to you. Right, I'm ending it now before we do any more jokes. Thank you all for watching.